Welcome to Tiger Talks Wrestling. This is your host, Tony, and I am joined once again by my co-host, Martini Charles Harrelson III, back. Welcome back.
Whoa, man. You didn't even let me get to say my own name? And you keep calling me Martini. Come on, man. Come on, what did I tell you? You know, whatever. Just finish it, man. Just finish it.
Alright. Well, we are also joined today by our special guest. He is the owner of BEW New York, a six-time BYW World Heavyweight Champion. Is voted number 4 backyard wrestler of 2016 by his peers, and is also the King of the Mountain, and very well-respected superstar in the backyard community, Nevon McDonald.
Oh, you better say
yes! Yes! I love that guy. That's one of my favorites right there. Yes!
Yes, it's about time y'all got somebody real good on this interview podcast.
Yes! A lot better than Yankee, I'll tell you, man. You're really good. Love you, Nevon. I love you.
Yes, but y'all better come correct, because if you don't, I will check you.
Ooh, it's going to be that mean kind of checking, too.
Don't make me laugh.
Alright, so let's get started. Go right into the first question here. What got you into backyard wrestling originally, Nevon?
Well, it started in my junior year in high school. I was in gym class. I always loved wrestling, by the way. Since I was 3 years old, I was told by my mom and my oldest sister. You know, I was always fascinated by it. So it was in gym class. I had a couple of buddies of mine who we always talked about wrestling. And we wanted to come up with our own federation in my backyard. So once we did that, it was in 2012, and we were doing it, you know, for fun. We didn't put it on YouTube at that time. So we were just doing it for fun. It was me, Tyler Sands, Wayne Prelich, who else was it? A boy named Ricky, not Rick Rios. It's another boy. Rafael Benitez, among others. So yeah, that's where it all began.
Alright, and would you say you had any influences that, specific influences that made you decide to join backyard wrestling?
I mean, on WWE like that.
Sure.
I would.
Anywhere.
Yeah, I would say that my heroes, definitely Stone Cold, Jeff Jarrett, The Undertaker, Jerry the King Lawler. For sure, that got me into wrestling and wanting to do it.
Gotcha. I could see all 4 of those pretty much in certain things that you do in the ring come out from those individuals. So.
Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah, we could definitely see majorly Jeff Jarrett and Jerry the King Lawler, in my opinion.
I'd agree.
I love him. Mr. McMahon is another one. That's my big hero. Vince, you know, if you can tell with my facial expressions, you know, when I'm wrestling or whatever, when I watch Vince in there and they beat up on him or he's shocked about something, and the way he, you know, was looking and selling it all just really caught my eye a lot, you know. So it was something about him and heel authority figures that really get me hooked in.
Yeah, and you can't go wrong having Vince McMahon as an influence with the, when you look at how successful of an individual he has been through his career, through his life, pretty much. Then
that's
he
did. Man.
Yep, he is the head cheese, so as to speak, of wrestling. So I would definitely say he's a great person to look up to. When, hey, put it as facts, he killed WCW. So
he did. He did.
Yeah.
Yep. He took out his competition.
Really
and
fan of WCW either. I always watched WWF. I was Team Vince all the way.
Right. I can't necessarily say I was because I watched both, but yeah.
He's loyal. He is a loyal person.
That he is.
He's a loyal man. A loyal piece of royalty. I tell you, man. I tell you. And
that's a different ass.
hold on, man. And just to get a decent segue in, he's a loyal man to his company, and that is BEW.
Yes.
Yes, BEW.
Yeah.
Nevon, would you? Yes, BEW New York. Yes. Nevon, would you like to talk about the stuff that's going on in your company? How you feel about it and everything.
What, currently?
Yes, currently.
Well, I suppose it makes me mad as a damn wet hen with everything that's going on in BW right now, not getting things uploaded. And I would have to blame my father for that, because I always care for my company. I started it, and I really want us to be like a weekly show, for all the fans out there to see. Because I know for 100% fact, if we were getting things up a lot quicker, then we would be bigger than BTW. And I don't give a damn what you got to say, Tony, about that, because I believe in my heart of heart that that's the truth.
Well, to that, I'll say that's the way that you should feel. Everybody should be proud of their company and consider it the best company in the backyard community, let alone the wrestling community. So I'll give you props on that one.
It's his pride and joy. I mean, he already is one of the biggest companies, and that in itself is its own giant task. And I could definitely say BEW is one of the best companies to do that.
I appreciate that.
Yes, thank you. It definitely does look like one of the most professional companies. And hey, Nevon, man, if you're always looking for a guy to do some commentary, you could, just give me the slide, hit me up in the DMs. I think you might be following me on Twitter.
Fine, Martini. We don't need the likes of you. Thank you, anyways.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
All right. So I want to go back a little bit.
Tried, man. Tried.
Yeah, you're good. Go back into the past of BEW a little bit here.
Okay.
You've been in there since the very beginning, obviously. You haven't missed a single episode in BEW that has been aired. And one of the first major feuds that we've seen you involved in was with Freddie Mercury, that also involved his girlfriend, Frances.
Oh, you bringing that one up?
I am.
Okay, yes, that whole thing with Freddie Mercury and Frances, it was just something about her that hooked me in. If you want to compare it to with Yankee and Zach Daniels' thing with Kristen, she was always involved with Zach's stuff throughout their rivalry. Sure. Well, Frances was involved in Freddie Mercury and I's rivalry. And I don't know, she just caught my eye. She ain't no big booty bikini bitch, but she still was something like. So if you watched the programming back then, or if you came across it nowadays, you would see that I wanted to have sex with her. And it didn't matter to me if she came correct or not. I still wanted a piece of her. Regardless if she has a boyfriend or not. I don't give a damn.
Now, there you go, Nevon. That's determination. And plus, you already answered my question. You already answered it. I was going to ask if she was a big booty bikini bitch or not, but clearly you're not. Like, she's not. And, I think you're better than that. You're definitely better than that.
Now, the end of your feud pretty much with Freddie Mercury actually seen a little bit of another rival that you had at that point in time get involved in your way, pretty much, in Felix Davila. Sorry if I mispronounced the last name.
Yeah.
But
it don't matter.
Either way, he had defeated you on an episode of BEW programming in which you decided to fire him afterwards. And then from there, we'd actually see him return in your
You did.
match against Freddie Mercury and cost you the match.
Trifling. Shiesty. Grimy. Yes. And then what? Do you know what else happened after that?
I do know what else happened after that. He would then...
Oh, you know your stuff, don't you?
I do. I do my homework. I do my homework very well. He would blindfold you, handcuff you pretty much, and then kidnap you, taking you into the woods, and held a gun to your head, forcing you to rehire him and sign a contract for a match against him.
You take me back. Oh, the flashback is devastating. Just going back to that time when he did that to me. Nobody should have to go through such a thing like that from a thug like Felix. And then he want to transition himself into Shadow Grim because I drove him over the edge for releasing him from BEW. Okay. So he come on to Day of Destruction, and we had our hardcore match. Yes, he won. You ain't got to let it be known.
Nah, I was saying it was Day of Destruction one.
Oh, I thought you said he won. Oh.
Nope.
Well, my mistake. But yeah, so we had a hell of a match. I would say I dominated, and I'm the real winner of that matchup between Shadow Grim and I. And I bashed him right in the head with that glass picture frame. I will never forget that one. And that was my payback. As the blood shed. Oh, Lord. It was so like an adrenaline rush when I saw that. And, yeah, but he got the win that day. But if we ever do meet again, it will be I who get my hand raised in victory.
Oh, yes. Preach, Nevon, preach.
Hallelujah.
And amen. Yes. Amen. I'm mesmerized here. I never thought I'd be in the presence of a king, man.
This is very rare. I don't get on these interviews much. Some people been trying to get me, and I said no. They don't deserve it. But for some reason, I've been watching Tony and his past interviews, and you know, when he asked me, he tagged me on Twitter that he wanted Nevon McDonald on there. So I said, I'll give this one a shot. I got some things I'd like to say anyway.
Yes, and that is why you should always watch this podcast right here on YouTube. You know, Tony always shares it. He had interviews with great people like okay, Yankee's not a great person, but he did one with him, which is still kind of funny to everyone else, but me, you know, I didn't like that one. He did one with the Dark Side.
All right, enough is enough. I'm going to cut you off because it's not their time. It's the King of the Mountains. So we're going to proceed with this interview. You need to plug nothing else. The only thing that matters, Nevon McDonald is on here.
Sorry, man. I was just getting the plug in, just trying to do my job, but
well, too damn bad. It don't matter. Can we continue on?
Yes. Subscribe, guys. Subscribe.
Alright. Well, we haven't really seen Nevon McDonald in a championship picture here in the last couple of years in BEW. The last time that we did was actually at the show The Invasion, when you won the BEW championship. And then BEW was invaded by, what was their name? Let me double check. HJW.
That's correct.
That invaded BEW.
Yes.
And it was right after you won the title that they showed up on the show, surrounded you pretty much, and it led into the main event being champion versus champion for both titles and a lumberjack match.
That's correct. That was the... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask what your opinion was of the entire event
well,
that happened.
You know, my 2 cents. No, I take that back. I'm going to give you the whole damn dollar. Because the whole thing with that, it was the invasion. Yes, I just won my 5th BW championship, okay? Mm-hmm. And out of nowhere, these boys from Jersey invaded New York, my company, to try to make a name for themselves because nobody knew who they were at all. So they came here to target me. and they did a number on me. I will admit that.
They did.
And for the first time in my life, you know, in the whole time that I was in BEW, I asked for help from the roster. I didn't get along with my employees. I didn't get along with them. But for the first time, we got on the same page. I stopped listening to my dad, and we stood together as a unit, and we took down HJW, and we are triumphant in the end, with me holding HJW title and BEW title.
It was an incredible moment from what I've seen for the BEW roster. You guys actually kind of celebrated a little bit with the NJW roster as well at the end of the show. So HJW, sorry.
Yeah, we did. I regret it now. I wish I didn't do that. I wish I would have spit in their face.
I could see why you'd want to do that. I mean, they were another company invading your company, so.
That's right. Now they're in, a lot of them boys from that company have joined Grimm's Toy Show. I'm pretty sure you can see a lot of them, like the Prodigy, Kid Christian, and who was that? JJ Adams is another one who is in Grimm's Toy Show now.
Very nice.
Because I destroyed and ended their company.
That's
the original
what it looked
one.
like there, pretty much. Right?
Do you think you'd be able to destroy Grimm's Toy Show's company if given the opportunity?
Well, I know for a fact that since those boys can get into Grimm's Toy Show, I definitely can get in it and flip that shit upside down, inside out, and make it mine if I wanted to.
Right. I believe it.
Well, you're hearing it here. Grimm, if you're watching, the King of the Mountain is calling you out.
And he better come correct.
Agreed. Now, the next major rivalry that I'd want to go over in BEW, I'm sure is going to be a little bit of a tough spot to go over, but we've seen the debut of the Dark Side during a triple threat match that you were involved in to determine the #1 contender for the BEW Championship. Well, he debuted earlier in the show, but he did cost you that triple threat match to Joseph Anthony. And that began a rivalry that is still brewing to this day.
Yo, don't. I wouldn't even bring that up. You okay, Nevon? Are you okay, man?
Am I okay?
Yeah,
he
you
wants
good.
to bring up my biggest rival, the Dark Side. I think that's one topic that we shouldn't get into.
I agree with that. What were you thinking, Tony? What were you thinking? You're smarter than this. Come on.
I had to bring it up. I mean, I'm sure, Nevon, you did see the podcast that I did a couple days ago with the Dark Side. He had some things to say to you.
I did. That motor mouth son of a bitch. I can't stand his ass. And I will never like him. He doesn't deserve to be in BEW. He didn't deserve to be in the King of the Yard. And I made damn sure of it. And he still came out anyway to try to ruin my plans. And that he did. He shouldn't be BEW champion. If you listen to me, Dark Side, you will never, as long as I'm breathing in and breathing out, you will never be the BEW champion.
Nevon, chill out, man. Chill out.
Shut up! Dark Side doesn't deserve to be here. He deserves to have the whole entire world to wipe their boots all over his face. He ain't nothing. He needs to respect authority since day one. I even wore the damn shirt, okay?
You did.
On the first day I met him, it was the episode 21. For that taping, I wore my shirt that says respect my authority. Because I knew from my first impression of him, texting him, that something was a little off. Okay, so I wore that shirt, and it was for nothing because he had no respect. He showed up to my Nevon show late. Yep. You were going to touch on that too?
Yep. I was just going to say we touched on that a little bit during the Dark Side show. He did show up late, as you mentioned, and was pretty disrespectful towards you throughout the entire show.
Huh? So you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
You know, I tried to. Yeah, I tried to be like a nice, owner and boss, and try to get him some airtime for the people to know him or get to know his background, what he's done, and he showed me nothing but disrespect. So I knew we weren't going to get along anyway, from that. So I told him that we were going to have a match, which I'm sure you was probably going to get into our first clash right after that topic.
Yep.
For Road to Gold, if he was able to defeat me, then he would get a contract here and he'll be able to stay. But if he lost, he's gone, and gone for good.
In which, as you mentioned, in that match, Darkseid actually did defeat you in that Falls Count Anywhere street fight. So he did get to stay around at that point in time. Now,
so Tony, you're just making it worse.
I'm stating
the only first of all, the only way he was going to defeat me that day was if my focus was elsewhere, because just like all the time, I always dominate him. I destroy him and I pick the bones. And I did that same thing in our first clash. And it wasn't until you know what happened.
I will admit, I agree with you on that. You do dominate the dark side throughout the majority of most of your matches.
Yeah.
Now, I can't say that you've come out victorious, obviously, in all of them, but more than not, you have. Whether that be... Yeah, we'll get into that. But it has been quite a rivalry from there. We would see you guys both attack each other off and on. It was on episode 22. He was in a match against Joseph Anthony, actually. And you came out during that match, which they were putting on a pretty good match at that point in time, and you attacked the dark side. You left him
I did.
You left him laying out cold pretty much that day.
El Kabong, baby. El Kabong.
Yes, indeed. But we wouldn't see the dark side again until, I have to bring it up, Halloween Hell. We saw the transformation. That was just about the last time that we've seen Nevon McDonald, one of the last times in BEW programming, as your inner demon, Noven, made an appearance at Halloween Hell and got assaulted by the dark side. It's bothering.
Uh-oh. You're gonna do it. He's gonna do it now, Tony. Look at him. Look, he's already...
Looking around at
just chill out.
Yes, I hear. Okay.
Just breathe. Just breathe.
Yes, they're talking about you. Yeah. Well, he's talking about you know who. He who must not be named. You idiot got me in trouble.
Tony!
He's on his way, Tony.
Oh.
To be honest, I'd more than welcome him.
Why would you do that?
Hey,
just like...
I'm just stating over the facts.
Just say he named... We all know who it is. You're just gonna... Oh, he's back. Oh.
Did somebody say my name?
Tony.
Martini, chill out. Yes,
What do you want?
your name was brought up. we're just discussing how you made your debut, Noven, at Halloween Hell, or Return, whichever way you want to put it, as to which you were assaulted by the dark side, leading into the main event of Halloween Hell, where you actually competed against the dark side in a casket match.
Yes.
As to which was a brutal casket match between the two of you, and you actually came out on top.
Did you expect something different?
To be honest with you, no.
Good answer.
It's a truthful answer. And
yes, I laid the dark side to rest, in which he was supposed to remain there for good. But that wasn't the case now, was it?
It was not.
So,
because as we would see, as you held a funeral pretty much for the dark side, he would make his return and would actually assault you and Ashter and would place you inside that same casket.
Nothing but a damn bastard. I hate him.
And from talking to him just a few days ago, I would say the feeling is mutual. We would see, perhaps, get into it a little bit more. And the dark side had quite the rivalry from there, would leading into the 3 stages of hell match that you two had. You put him through wars, pretty much, against your ministry members. You actually brought up a person from his past as one of the ministry members, in JJ the Pitbull Cordero. Where did he come from?
JJ the Pitbull Cordero came from PWF. It is Passion for Wrestling. And that was the same promotion that the Dark Side was in with him. And they had a lot of heated grudge matches there. That they did. And I wanted to dig deep to find somebody that knows the Dark Side well and knows how to put him down, so I didn't have to do it. So that's what it was all about, with bringing the Pit Bull into my Ministry of Destruction. It was an offer he couldn't refuse, as he was going through a lot of things, because the dark side ruined his damn life. Okay.
Right.
So, sitting at home on the couch, or the doghouse, whichever it was, and I brought him back into life with a purpose and to have retribution. So that's what our deal was.
Now, leading into that 3 stages of hell match, how did you feel about how your ministry members did against the dark side? Because we've seen Raghul got the win over the dark side. However, if I remember correctly, that was Raghul that beat him. However, Ashter lost to the dark side in a tables match, and the Pitbull actually did lose in the last man standing match against the dark side.
I will say that I am very proud of Raghul for the first time ever picking up a victory. Okay. It wasn't until he joined me in my Ministry of Destruction that he actually won a match. Okay. And had a lot of steam going and purpose. However, Ashter, he lost that tables match. Perhaps I should have known better to not book my manager, who is not really an active performer, wrestler, competitor. So maybe I shouldn't have done that. You can think of it as a sacrifice for the greater good. The Pitbull, JJ Cordero, great effort.
Agree.
What you say? Road to Destruction?
Yes, I would agree.
The last standing match?
Yep.
But he failed. So the effort meant nothing. So I knew what had to be done. If I wanted the dark side to be taken down and executed and out of my life forever, or at least I tried to get him out of my life forever, that I would have to do it at my own hands.
For which you tried to, as you did defeat him in that 3 Stages of Hell match in 2 of the 3 falls, ending with a Last Rites tombstone onto light tubes, I might add, to win the final fall of the Last Man Standing match. Do you?
Yes. There's nothing I can do to destroy the dark side.
So you wouldn't say that was going a little too far using light tubes?
Cover your ear.
Why would you do that, Tony?
Are you serious? He's the one that introduced the light tubes in the match in the first place.
True.
You live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Fair enough.
There was not one person during that day for that main event matchup, 3 Stages of Hell, that were sitting down. Nobody was sitting down on their hands. They were all on their feet, bear witnessing to the execution, or at least it was supposed to be, of the dark side.
Yeah, now let's move on to why it wasn't the end of the dark side as you were hoping and planning on. So the next time we'd see BEW return for episode 32, you had taken over control of BEW for the most part and had a 10-man open challenge pretty much in the main event of that show, in which a certain Freddie Flamingo actually picked up the win. Only to be revealed that it was the dark side, as he would take you out at the end of the show, pretty much.
Tony.
You realize, Tony the Tiger, that was the last episode seen of BEW. I was so outraged that I was fooled by the dark side like that. I tried to be a good devil on that episode. I was happy. I was really, really happy that day because I fired the dark side and I sent his ass to the hospital at Day of Destruction 2 to only find out that he's still alive and well, and he tricked me, and he got an opportunity for a BW championship match.
That he does.
Not gonna happen. Over my dead body.
Fair
not
enough.
Gonna happen. He will not be BW champion. Do you hear me?
I hear you.
Do you hear?
And I'm sure the dark side heard you as well. But he, as in the dark side, is fine with doing it over your dead body.
It's either kill or be killed, and Noven will never die. Ain't no grave can hold my body down.
Fair enough. Now, since we've got Noven here, I want to move into, you ventured over to another company by the name of UWE, where we would actually see you debut in the Survivalist Coliseum, and you would take out a certain Lips in that match and kidnap him pretty much. Why exactly would you target Lips?
You know, I don't just watch what goes on at my slaughterhouse. I watch what goes on in other BYW promotions. You know, the UW is in New York as well.
It's true.
So, as I was watching, and I see Lucius, that's his real name, by the way, Lucius Isaac Preston Smith. Lips, that's where he gets it from.
Yeah.
But I seen him and feared that he would put his opponents into, you know, I just, in a way, I was in a way mesmerized that there's someone like that to put fear into his opponent. But then I felt that there's only one fear entity truly in all of BYW, and it is me, Noven. So I had to do what was necessary to be done to go to UWE and remove Lucius from the equation.
Which you did try to do. You had him tied up in his own lair there for a couple weeks on UWE lockdowns. And,
Oh, I tortured good.
right? I would imagine you did. He actually would get his hands, though, on Tabitha and would kidnap her. And
Do not speak of that in front of my darling.
Yeah, Tony. Yeah, don't say that. Don't say that.
well, it would lead into...
Okay.
It's gonna be okay, Tabitha. It's gonna be okay.
He doesn't know what he says.
He's not the brightest sometimes. It's okay.
You will never have to go through that again. I got you.
But look at that, Tony. You upset her. You upset her. Tony, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
Really?
Yeah. You got her upset. Shame, Tony. Shame.
Sure, shame me. Nonetheless, it would lead into Lips would invite you to a dinner. In quite a, oh, what's the word I want to use? Interesting dinner that it was. That would lead into a match between the two of you at Ultimate Redemption. Now that match was quite the brutal match. We've seen all kinds of weapons brought into that match, and including push pins that had hearts on it put onto a table that Lips would actually be, if I remember correctly, chokeslammed through. And
he actually put me through it.
No, he put you through it. That's right. That's right. I apologize. But still, in the end, Lips did actually pick up the victory over you in that match. However, the next time we would see you on UWE programming would be a little bit of a surprise for Lips. When you would show up at Thunderstruck, as Lips was addressing the UWE universe, you challenged him to a Buried Alive match. Something that we haven't seen very much, if at all, in the Backyard Wrestling. Why a Buried Alive match?
Why a Buried Alive match, you say?
That's what I asked.
Why not? It's the fate that is going to be for him. The fate that he decided for himself. Because once he defeated me, I've never been beaten before, by the way.
Yep,
no man ever has pinned my shoulders to the mat until Lucius.
Yep.
So for that is the ultimate sin. No man, woman, or child, or freak, whatever he is, can beat me. He's going to have to suffer for that. So, bury him alive sounds good to me.
Any form of suffering, right?
Yes.
Yeah. As long as he suffers, Tony. As long as he suffers.
Right.
He's not just going to suffer. He's going to die. I'm going to bury him alive.
That's even better.
Suffocate on his own breath.
And that could very well happen at Broken Glory in the main event.
It will happen.
We shall see if it happens.
Do you think it will happen, Tony?
I think that the two of you will go to war, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see it happen. To see Lips get buried alive. I have a few reasons. Why I think that, which I don't care to necessarily divulge one of them, but I just think that match is more so up your alley than it is his. That's what I'll go with.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Well, just so you know, it will happen. The world is going to watch Lucius get buried alive at my hands. It's actually going to happen. It's never been seen before around here in this community.
Right.
Going to bear witness publicly a man get buried alive. And that's what I'm bringing to the table here. I'm going to revolutionize this motherfucker in BYW.
I would agree with that. It's something we've seen sparsely used in WWE, let alone to see it happen in backyard wrestling. It's going to be quite interesting to watch it transpire, that's for sure. But yeah. Alright. Is there any way we could get Noven and Nevon back here from you there, Noven?
I'm sorry?
I'd like to speak to Nevon for a moment, if you wouldn't mind.
Boy!
Wait, Noven, before you leave,
Boy, they want you. I'm allowing you to speak here tonight.
Noven, before you leave,
anymore.
I have a final question for you.
What do you want?
What'll like be your initial reaction if someone sticks their finger in your face?
What?
What'll be your initial reaction if someone sticks their finger in your face? I heard a story, and like you swung a chair at them and like you hit them and you gave them a concussion.
I find it to be very rude and very disrespectful for anyone to point their finger directly in my face. And I always, when someone do that, I deal with a swift, vengeful retaliation. And to answer your question further, I'll grab them by the throat. I'll dig these fingers deep into their flesh. And then I choke the life right out of them. That's what I do.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to.
Satisfied with your answer?
Yeah, yes, I get that's perfect. Thank you.
Good night.
Okay, good night. That was scary. Why can't you do that? Why? I blame you, Tony. You know, if you didn't say anything.
Well, just deal with it for now, buddy.
Yeah.
You knew what you were getting into this show.
Yeah, no. Nevon, I'm glad to see you back. Are you alright, man?
Y'all making this night very hard for me.
Blame Tony, okay? He's the one that burnt your dad out.
God.
The man that
me, Nevon McDonald, Tony. Didn't you say that? Didn't you say you wanted Nevon McDonald? You ain't say nothing about my dad now. You crossing the line. I had him sleep, and now he waking up and he's angry and throwing things because of what y'all saying on here. I don't know what you said. But now it's gonna make my night harder.
For that, I apologize.
You better apologize. You're best to apologize. You better.
I just did.
You know, I'm gonna lose sleep over this. I was supposed to get a good 8 hours of sleep and then go see my granddaughter. But guess what? I can't now.
You think you ain't gonna be able to sleep? I ain't gonna be able to sleep.
Yeah, I ain't gonna. Nevon, on Tony's behalf, I apologize for him. A king does not deserve this.
No, I don't.
I think Tony. I think
I go through.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry. I believe Tony deserves an El Cabal.
Oh, then that just brightened up the night. That would be awesome. And I told you, Tony, before that I had a guitar with your name on it one day. I would love
Yeah, I've
nothing
heard
more
that.
than giving that to you.
Who knows? You may get that opportunity at some point, but we shall see.
Yeah, once
I
you
believe
have
you
that
should get it
hole
tonight.
that you in.
You should definitely get it tonight.
Well, Nevon, we were discussing your ventures in UWE as with Noven there, but I want to talk about your time that you
Stop
had
saying
there.
that name.
All right.
The first time we saw you was at the end of Lockdown 46, where you announced that you would be in a Fatal 4-Way elimination match on the following episode of Lockdown, which you competed against Templar, Dirty DeChico, he was Templar then, and Everett Creed, who was the UWE champion at that time, and Cameron Jackson in that Fatal 4-Way elimination match. What was that
Yeah.
experience like to be a part of that match?
You know, I've never been to the UWE before that. You know, when I issued that challenge for them, the biggest names in that company at that time, and I wanted to do something big, something massive. You know, I'm all about making history. You
Right.
know, so, it was a little weird, you know, for me to go back to the trampoline. But you know, it was still an awesome time. I really did enjoy myself. There was definitely a conspiracy going on there, though. If you really watch that matchup, it's elimination rules for crying out loud. And I get the pinfall on somebody, you know, a cover, and here go, let's say, Everett, breaking up the count when I'm pitting
Right.
Cameron Jackson. What the hell is that about? This ain't no team match. This is every man for himself. That happened on more than one occasion, too, in that match.
I'd agree. It did. It did.
Yeah.
And it did end up leading into you being the second person eliminated in that matchup as well. Unfortunately for you.
Yeah. 3-on-1. I had no chance
Yes, it
at
was.
all to win that match.
It was at times looked like a 3-on-1 match. I would agree with you on that. And the match would end with Everett Creed actually sneaking a win over Templar, which would give Templar the chance to get revenge afterwards, as Dirty Chico would win the UWE World Title from Everett Creed. But that's a little bit off subject. And let's get back into what you have done in UWE since then.
I will
Yeah,
say, though, about one of them guys, Everett. I do respect Everett Creed. You didn't expect that, huh?
I did not.
A lot of people do not like him, as they don't like me. But, you know, it's tough being an authority figure and owner of a BYW company. And, you know, there's a lot of haters out there who don't agree with the decision making that you do and book a show or whatever, you know. But
Right.
Everett is someone that I do respect. He was a great champion. And what he's doing now with the company.
Is there a company
So-
even? Is there a company even to speak of right now? Is the question though.
Well, probably not after I bury, or excuse me, my father, I should say, bury Lips Alive. I don't think there's going to be anything left after that for that brand.
Right. Since you brought up Everett Creed, I want to kind of segue a little bit into Everett Creed and BEW, well, UWE and BEW. Do you think there'll be a time where we might see Everett Creed show up on an episode or episodes of BEW?
Well, I would have to say yeah, because I've gone to BEW, so has some of our BEW guys.
And we've seen him there before, but
yeah, so I think so. I would have to say yes, and I would love that.
yeah, I will say about Everett Creed, I'm not the biggest Everett Creed fan, but he is entertaining and he is pretty good inside the ring with what he does. So I'll give Creed props for some points.
Yeah, and I know you don't like me either. Okay, Tony.
Yeah, I give you props too.
But yeah, you got to give me my props. Okay.
I mean,
So
Yeah, I mean, you see, Tony, in your situation, you being an idiot and not liking the King of the Mountain, Nevon McDonald.
you should have seen our tweets that we had back and forth.
Oh, I've heard about it. You see,
He
my
always wanted to bicker with me and arguing, or wanted, my opponent to win and not me, or be surprised that I picked up the win. You know,
yeah, you
you
see,
may not
my
like me, but you watch everything I do, and bitch, that makes you a fan. So that's all I got to say about that.
exactly. You see, my cousin is teaching me about the ways of these modern day technology things, and he showed me this Twitter and this tweet. Am I correct? It's called a tweet, is it?
correct. You're right.
And
What
I
a
did see
moron!
the back and forth. I'm sorry, I'm 63 years old. I'm not really up to date with the whole, technology thing.
It is the 21st century.
And it is.
Yes, it is, but I wasn't around for the 21st century, you see. Back in my day, we were doing stuff with sticks and cans.
What the hell you talking about?
Look, mister, I'm an old man. I love you, man, but,
Listen, you gonna have to hush up or something, because I don't know what the hell you talking about on here. We gonna have to get back to our interview. You ain't making no sense to me.
Yeah, he's not making much sense to me either at the moment.
Oh, shut the trap.
Kind of went off subject a little bit, but I wanted to get to the... Pretty much, we haven't seen you much in UWE, but there was one match that we've seen you had besides that Fatal 4-Way match in UWE Lockdown 50th Edition. You faced off against the one-man mosh pit, Jason Atlas, in which the referee got taken out, and you would capitalize by hitting an El Kabong to pick up the win.
Yeah?
What was your opinions of that match?
Oh, you want my opinion on the match? Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I
That's
do.
all you had to add?
That's what I was going
Well,
to.
Jason Atlas, he's a heck of a competitor. He's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of underestimated him going into the match. He was laying them in, those shots, and that backhand fist that he does caught me. Oh goodness, it caught me out of nowhere and had me loopy for a minute there.
Right.
But the experience got the better of Jason Atlas, because the experience is in my table, and I picked up the win, and it wasn't gonna go any other way.
I'll say this: some people would say that it wasn't the cleanest of victories, but sometimes you just gotta do whatever is necessary to pick up a win. So.
A victory is a victory.
Yeah, agreed.
My trusty equalizer is never far. It's got me where I am today.
It's true. That it has. So that's pretty much been your ventures in UWE. Whether or not we'll see you again there probably partially depends on how much more there will be of UWE. Because at one point it looked like you might actually show up a little bit more often from that 50th episode when things were going better for UWE's company at that point in time. But we'll see what happens there.
If my father wants me to go back, and they still running and kicking, that is if Noven doesn't destroy or Everett Creed. I don't know, whatever. But if I'm allowed back, I'll definitely go.
Fair enough. Now, I want to go into the first time that we actually seen you at a crossover event. You traveled down to VTW and was part of Best in the Yard 2. Yes, that event. Where actually Kevin Shaw had issued a challenge to your father Noven, but instead of Noven, he would get the King of the Mountain, Nevon McDonald. Now, why was it you that answered the challenge?
Was it me? What did you say?
Why was it you that answered the challenge when he was challenging your father?
Well, my dad, he didn't want, well, I shouldn't say he didn't want to, but he felt like his standards are a lot higher. You know, he didn't want to.
Now watch it with the word standards there. We'll get into why here in a couple minutes, but
Oh, no pun intended. But yeah, he felt like Kevin Shaw was beneath him. You know, and I'd never been anywhere else besides BEW at that time, and um, Cameron Jackson told me about these other federations, and Destiny R2 was my first event that I was allowed to go to, and I answered the challenge of Kevin Shaw instead of my dad, and we had a hell of a match.
I'd agree. And it did not go your way, the finish of the match. Kevin Shaw did pick up the win. However, Kevin Shaw also did take 2 guitar shots, 2 alcabongs after the match.
Well, my dad showed up after all, didn't he?
That he did. And he would even drape the American flag over a laid out Kevin Shaw as well.
That goes to show you right there that he don't give a damn about nobody, this country, or anything but him and Tabitha. I would say he cares about me to a certain degree. At least I would think so.
Right.
He has a funny way of showing it, but, you know, he is my father after all.
Yeah. Now, from there, we would, let's see. We move on from there, because the next time
let me hold up there, because due to my father's actions with Kevin Shaw and draping that American flag on him, Avery Hulk, the chairman of VTW, confronted me at Destiny R2. Okay. And he didn't like what my father did, so he wanted to get all on my case, and I felt a little threatened by that. Okay. So from there, the challenge was issued for the Destiny R3.
Yep, and I want to delve into that a little bit here in a little bit, but just let's move through VTW a little first. The next time we would actually see you on VTW programming, you were a guest on, as mentioned earlier, the Silver Standards show, the Ecstatic show. And during that show, Ecstatic was very rude, is one word you could put towards you. And he would attack you, which did not turn out well for him in the end.
It's a shame, too, Tony, that things had to go that way, because I actually like Ecstatic, believe it or not. I do.
Okay.
I do. I like him and what he does in VTW. Lots of respect I have for the Silver Standard. You know, but him doing that to me, I don't know. He was angry. You know, he just lost the title, I believe, at that time.
He had.
To Aaron Jones.
Yep.
And I don't know. I guess he got hit with the bell too hard in that bull rope match, because he started blaming me for losing the title.
It wasn't just losing the title that he was blaming you for. It was he brought up the fact that you did Al-Kabong him at Best in the Yard 2 as well during his match with Jordan Oliver.
Oh, dwelling on the past, he is. You know, I did do that. It was a scheduled match, 2 out of 3 falls, career versus career. And Jordan Oliver is a big, big talent in my promotion. And I'll be damned if I'm just going to sit out there in the crowd watching these two go at it. And my guy, my number one dude, the champion, career's on the line, and he's going to lose it. No, sir. No. That's why I did what I did to Ecstatic and gave one of my best El Kabong shots of all time.
All right. Now, as we were saying, the Ecstatic show didn't turn out well for him, because your father, Noven, did show up and lay out Ecstatic, leading into a match between the two of them, a number one contenders match at Thanksgiving Thunder. You were also at Thanksgiving Thunder, which we'll delve into here in a moment. But it was... Let me get back here for a second. It was Noven and Ecstatic who competed in the main event to determine the number one contender for the VTW World Title, and Ecstatic took a choke slam on the steps, followed by a Last Rites Tombstone on the steps for Noven to pick up the win. Man, that looked horrible for Ecstatic.
That was one of my father's best matches. Definitely up there, top 3, top 2. I would say. It was a really good match. It was actually the opening match, not the main event.
Sorry.
My father came out top, and that Last Rites Tombstone on the steel steps, that took Ecstatic out for a month, I think it was. He wasn't even at the following pay-per-view for VTW.
But as I mentioned, you were also at Thanksgiving Thunder and had a contract signing with Avery Hoke for Best in the Art 3. Things got a little heated during that contract signing.
But I pretty much called Avery out. I called him a moron because that's what he is. He had no business challenging me to a match anyway, because I'm way out of his league. There ain't no way that man can step in the ring with the likes of me and somehow, some way, pull off a win or even survive. You know, if he stepped in the ring with me, he definitely would have been sent to the hospital and never would have been the same again.
Right.
That man. And for what reason? Well, we'll find out as we carry on, I'm sure, because you, like you said, done your homework and you know what it's all about. So.
Now, after that, we would see you would actually, Nevon McDonald, get that world title shot that Noven had won the chance to get against Aaron Jones, the Blackout. You would end Vindication episode 26 with one hell of a message, not only for Aaron Jones, but for VTW in whole. Now, what would you have to say about that whole message that you had for him?
Well, I'm glad that they had the mindset and everything to allow me to have some airtime on their programming during that time with that rivalry, because Aaron, he wasn't giving me nothing. He wasn't saying anything at the time. So I had to make myself known on there anyway. And I got the last spot on that episode, and I let them have it. I shot on all of them. And my goal was to definitely impress my father. And the one time I think he has ever had faith in me to do something for him to win the VTW heavyweight title, I definitely was going to make it known VTW's fate. And once I had that title, I was going to bring it back to New York and have it here in BEW. So VTW would no longer have a champion. Just YouTube champion.
Right. Which prestigious title that is as well. No pun intended towards the man that calls himself prestigious there in BTW now, Zach Daniels, but I would say he and others have brought prestige to that title. Back on the subject, though, you did fall a little bit short, though, to Aaron Jones in that title match. And you have nothing to say about it?
You want me to comment on it? Oh, you didn't ask me. Okay, you.
Yeah, you gotta ask.
Heaven knows why I lost that championship match. Because of who?
There you got me.
This is me. It was Avery Hoke.
Avery Hoke, yep.
Avery Hoke came out, stuck to his nose, and not in his business, okay? It had
Where it
nothing to do
didn't
with
belong.
him.
Yep.
He came out there and he took away my trusty equalizer that
Mhm.
Yankee brought out for me.
Yep.
And he cost me the matchup.
Yep. And
And for that, he was going to pay for. He had hell to pay.
yeah, the next time we'd see you in VTW was actually at Christmas Chaos pre-show. You had a business call with Joe Cool. Well, I wouldn't say necessarily we seen you, but we heard from you anyways during that. And we would then go on from Christmas Chaos, where that was the only thing that you pretty much had to do with the show, to VTW Reunion, where Avery Hope was actually found unconscious backstage. And you would enter number 15 in the Reunion Rumble match.
Can we just comment on Avery Hope being
Go for it.
unconscious? You know, I told that old man at Turbulence that he was gonna reap what he sowed.
You did.
And I always keep my promises and guarantees, you know. So I had a hit out on him, and he was taken out, and I took his spot for the Reunion Rumble, in which I was going to do what I wanted to do at Turbulence, get that BTW World Heavyweight title. And it was going to be at Mania.
However, your plans were dashed in the Rumble match when a certain Tyler Aiken eliminated you from the match.
There's always something.
It seems that way.
Why can't things just go my way? Because that's the way it should go. Nothing else matters. And BYW is just like in life. Everything revolves around the King of the Mountain. And Tyler Aiken had to ruin everything for me, just like Avery did at Turbulence. So he had to be dealt with next.
That he did, and dealt with in quite a unique way, I would say. During Vindication 33, first was when we seen he got a letter telling him to come #find me from you. To which he was sent to the town's local bridge during that episode. But when he got there, he wouldn't find you. He would find Avery Hope's Best in the Yard 1 opponent, Winnipeg Warrior, instead.
Yeah, the Winnipeg Warrior, as you said, was Avery Hope's Best in the Yard 1 opponent. And he was also supposed to be the special guest referee for Avery and I's match at Best in the Yard 3.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about mind games and how to come up with a masterful plan? And I ain't the brother man, but I had something good in mind, as you saw on those episodes of Vindications. And Tyler Aiken never was the same again.
Yes, I would agree. He was told to go to the Devil's Circle by Winnipeg Warrior in that episode. Where we would see in Vindication 34, he would show up there and find Ashter instead of you again. He would beat down Ashter, and to a certain degree, and then was told to go to a cemetery, and that was where he would find you. Not just any cemetery, though. The cemetery that his grandparents are at.
Yeah. Yeah. I've done a lot of devious things, but that had to be up there at the tippy top of the mountain. You know, Tyler Aiken, you also reap what you sow. I had to teach Tyler a lesson that he will never forget. That you should never mess with me. and that you should never cross Noven. So, it was that cold, chilling night. He arrived at that tombstone that his grandparents were laid to rest at. Now, mind you, that his parents would take him there too, during, the grandparents' birthdays and all that, and they would have their moment together, remembering and reminiscing and all that, So I knew about all that. I had my ways to finding things out, and I did what had to be done.
I suppose that's one way you can put it. Probably the best way.
He deserved it.
That would lead into his main event match at Fury. You would actually face your father, Noven, in the main event there. And Tyler would lose the match with a last rites tombstone from Noven. But it was what happened after the match that I would say probably many fans, including myself, were a little taken aback from. Avery Hoke would come out, and Noven would proceed to El Kabong Tyler Aiken right in front of his uncle Avery Hoke, which the part I was taken aback from was, to me, it looked like Avery could have intervened if he wanted to.
You were taken back by that?
I was. I thought that Avery could have tried to help out his nephew.
The man is dead ass scared of me. Do you not know that? Can you not tell? The man fears me, and he has every right to. Okay. But my father did tell him, that if he got in the ring, he was going to take Tyler's head off. But he did it anyway.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's what happened. And my dad, he wanted to face him. I could have faced Tyler Aiken, but the whole thing was for father to get Tyler Aiken and give him his last rites. And, yes, Tyler wanted to bring the Storm back, okay. He thought that was going to work to take down the last emotion, but no, sir. No man, no soul alive can stop Noven. And he found that out the hard way.
Amen.
In front of his uncle.
Amen.
Now I'd say Noven didn't just take Tyler's soul just about in that match. He also did take his girlfriend too, so.
My dad is a player.
Apparently so.
And remember, and that's what I think. I totally think, no, absolutely no. That's what drove Tyler Aiken bad.
Segue into the Bad Sons there a little bit. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty much the last time we've seen Avery Hoke and, well, Noven more so, interact each other before Best in the Yard. I would assume that you would say it was the right call that Avery no-showed Best in the Yard this year.
Right, say for him and his health. Yes. But I wanted the match. Are you kidding me? A year we were building for that match. We announced it at Best in the Yard 2 on the very show. And to go into the third annual Best in the Yard after we signed a contract at the Thanksgiving Thunder,
you did.
And all that build to culminate at the show of shows for BYW and to not get the match because he's sick.
I bet it was like a cold or something. I don't know. I bet he faked it because he's scared of you.
That very well
That's exactly right. And also, Drew, he knew Avery feared me. So what he did, he wanted to take his spot. He gave Father, a chance to face big competition and to give him a fight. And if he was to win, Noven, I speak of, then he was going to get any match he want going forward after Best in the Yard 3.
Yep, and we will delve into Best in the Yard here in a little bit, but I want to continue on through your career before we get into the last couple shows that
Sure.
we have seen you partake in.
Oh, sure.
We have also seen you venture out to a company that was called ECW at one point, now KWA, that is a little bit not taking place right now, I suppose.
Yeah,
Now,
right now the season is done for, but I think KWA will kick back up on its feet.
fair enough. Yes, that's a company that Martini is very familiar with.
Yes, yes.
But we would see one match I want to address that you had there, Nevon, was a Christmas Carnage street fight against the ECW World Champion at that time, Phoenix. And if you won the match, you would get a future ECW title shot, which a brutal match that you two put on. You busted Phoenix wide open at one point during that match, and you both tore the living hell out of each other. Let's put it that way. But in the end, it was you that picked up the victory over Phoenix.
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Man, I tell you what, I had a lot of fun in that match. I really, really did. Putting a beating on that big boy. It don't matter to me what size you are or height or how bigger you may be than me. I will still lay the smack down on that ass and pick up the win because that's what I do. And Phoenix found that out.
Right.
It was
Go
one of my
ahead.
favorites too. Let me just say that too. Great effort, great competitor, Phoenix, Casey James.
Known as now, yep.
Yes, that's what he is now, Casey James. And I will say, if we ever go at it again, it will be a pleasure kicking your ass one more time.
Fair enough. Now, another match that you had there in ECW at the time was a street fight against Cyrus from DBW Wrestling, actually.
Yeah.
Now, what would you say, if anything, about that whole match that happened?
Cyrus, that's a stiff worker, hard hitter, don't care about your well-being. He out to hurt people, and I didn't know him at all. That was the first time I met that dude,
Right.
and he's older than I think by a good 10 years or so or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
But that don't mean nothing anyway. But yeah,
He's about a number.
he was something else in that ring, and he actually won. Hit
did.
me with 3 spears. He calls himself the king of backyard wrestling. That's why I answered his open challenge, because the king of the mountain is the king of BYW. I might have not got my hand raised on that day, but after
However,
that match,
yep,
you
after
know
that
what
match, I seen it. Not just Cyrus, the referee first took an El Kabong, and then Cyrus
you just
avoided
tickled.
the first shot. Cyrus avoided the first shot, however, he couldn't avoid the second El Kabong.
What a foolish man. He had a chance to lead too, but he didn't.
He did too. I was surprised that he didn't take that chance to leave, because if it was a lot of other people, they would have when they had the chance, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's how compelling I am. When I tell you to do something, you're going to do it. He came back in that ring, and I gave him one of the best El Kabongs. I've hit a lot of people, with my guitars, and I put a lot of people down, but he is definitely in my top 3 of my favorite shots, and I didn't win, but it certainly looked like I won once that match ended, the whole thing ended.
I would agree. It did look that way. Now, you weren't the only one to venture to ECW. Your father, Noven, would as well. He had quite a unique match, something you don't see people get involved in very often. He fought in a Thunder and Lightning street fight, pretty much. Hardcore match against, ended up being Tycoon Mikado from BEW. It was, I seen it. I can't think of who it was originally. Who originally was he supposed to face in that event?
Oh, it was supposed to be oh goodness, what's that guy?
Jay Madness. That's who it was.
Jay Madness.
Jay Madness.
Oh,
yes,
Martini,
you're right.
know his stuff.
Yeah, he does. And he.
Yeah. So.
I've done my homework too. It's okay, guys. I got you.
All right, oldie.
Yes.
But yes.
So
no,
you want my thoughts on that?
Well, yes.
Okay. Well, of course, I wasn't in that matchup, and I'm trying to make sure Father don't return here. But it was literally, yes, thundering and lightning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Those men, both of them could have got struck with lightning. And they were out there wrestling in the rain, and it was barbaric. Mikado definitely suffered a lot of pain, like a lot of men that's been in the ring with Noven. And it took that last right's tombstone. Most of the time, it only takes just one. Yeah, on the pavement, right on the road.
Yep. That's what it took to finish off Tycoon Mikado in that match. They, again, another very physical match that those two had there that, like we said, ended that way. But to do it in Thunder and Lightning Storm, that's just, not many people would do that. It's not very safe, so I'll give...
It is not, and it definitely is not recommended. And nothing against your father, but for the safety of himself and his opponent, it shouldn't have happened. Although there was still very cool moments with the storm, it definitely wasn't safe, and it is definitely something people should not try and replicate.
You know, I will agree to that, Martini. I will. But you know how Father goes. He don't care rain, sleet, or snow. He gonna go out there and torture them poor souls.
I mean, he's done it and all. He's already done it.
Yeah.
All sorts of weather.
And he owed Mikado for the old and new. If you watch BEW episode 27, I believe, he had a match with Mikado. And Mikado put his hands on his Tabitha.
Oh, yeah.
So he not only beat him down in that Thunder and Lightning match, but also there in BEW. So.
Right. Now, I want to... Was there any other times that you want to discuss of your trips to ECW?
Hello? Tony? You're missing one of the biggest matches here.
What are you referring to?
His father versus Gas Chamber. The match went on for 40 minutes, and it was one of the best matches in KWA history. KWA Battlefest.
I would agree. I was going to get into that match, but it kind of stole my thunder there. Yes, the body bag match. Again, another match that we haven't seen a whole lot in backyard wrestling, but man, did those two go to hell in that match.
It's like that father's pain.
And Noven was the winner in that match, which wasn't surprising, to be honest with you. But Gas Chamber, he gave it his all in that match. I haven't seen a whole lot of Gas Chamber, but that match showed me that he's one tough dude.
One of the toughest, I would definitely say. He took Noven to the absolute limit. And honestly think more eyes should be on Gas Chamber. But, you know, he don't got a place right now to be showcased on or seen. But I know he will eventually. And people are going to get behind him. Because he is an extraordinary performer. I wouldn't know personally, but I know Father, yes. And, yeah, it was an awesome match. That's what Noven brings to the table, a body bag match. You know, he's always down for them first-time ever things for BYW. And, yeah, it was definitely hellacious.
Yes, it was. And if anybody that's watching this hasn't seen that match, I would definitely recommend going and finding it. Whether you go to the KWA channel, I don't know that you guys have it up on the BEW channel or not. I believe you do.
They
Yeah,
do.
you can
They
see it
do.
on the
Yes.
BW channel. It's got like over 700 views or something like that.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's definitely worth the
Very
watch.
popular match. Very popular.
but the right man won in the end.
Yes. Yes, the right man did win in the end.
Now, is there any other points that you wanted to make about your trips to KWA or ECW as it was known when you ventured there?
I could say, or talk about one match, but I don't think the guy would like it to be spoken. You know.
Oh, now you got me intrigued.
Well, hell, this is Tony Talks Wrestling. Uh, I
Tiger
can't.
Talks Wrestling, but yes.
Tiger. Well, hell, you know what the hell I mean. God damn. But
Look, Tony Tiger. I think he's the guy from the cereal boxes. I don't know,
No,
but
no,
you
no,
know.
no, 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 no. That's giving infringement, brother.
Mm-hmm.
well, Martini, you might have been there to see this matchup.
Maybe.
And I think it's appropriate for me to discuss it, at least a little bit of it. At least
Go right
I
ahead. Go right ahead.
had a match against Zach Hellhound Romig, and before the matchup, I told that boy to his face that he was going to be in deep trouble. I felt like he wasn't taking me seriously and how much of a threat I truly am. So I smacked him in the face and kicked him in his little balls. And I said, I'll meet you out there later on. So we had our 2 out of 3 falls match. This is not no street fight or anything like that, like most of my matches. And we went at it, and it was still wet in the ring because it was snowing and everything.
And if I'm correct, there was a ultra violent death match between Phoenix and Gas Chamber, bringing him back up here.
Right before me and the Hellhound went at
Yeah,
it. So
yeah.
there was still like some glass and shit in the ring too. They didn't clean it out good enough. So we were going to get, well, at least one of us going to get hurt in that ring, and didn't expect to get hit with something or, something poke us. And yeah, so the Hellhound, he landed on some of the glass, and it had a deep cut on his wrist, like he did it himself. And yeah, so he got hurt pretty bad, and it was wet in the ring. I hit him with a clothesline. He slipped and fell on his head. I think he was concussed, but the boy still continued on wrestling. And on that day, I definitely grew a lot of respect for the Hellhound as a competitor and as a human being. Because I respect the people who are tough. That ain't just gonna quit. Oh, I just got cut, so I can't continue the match. That's bullshit. I've been busted open, black-eyed, and bruised. The tissue from my lips at time was hanging after I got super kicked one time by Jordan, and I still continued to fight. No quit. Never give up. And Zach.
Yes. Yes, I'll make sure to tell my cousin that.
And I did win, but I gave him another chance, and he defeated me in the end.
So technically, since you have a win over him, and he has a win over you, does that mean there will be a third bout some point, sometime on down the line?
Well, I'm sure he'll like that. But once it happens, and if it happens, I'll be down for it. But if it happens, he's not going to like that he decided to step in the ring with me again.
Well, I mean, as much as I love my cousin, and I'll definitely tell him about, the whole offer. He doesn't make the best decisions at times. And I am a little bit worried for his safety. He's going against the king. it could be a lot worse, but it's still very, very dangerous of him. And I don't know, man. I'll make sure to tell him.
He ain't nothing but a little boy in a big man's world. My world.
No.
Well, since we did bring up Hellhound, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the podcast that I had with him just the other day, during which he did bring up your father, Noven, as a opponent that he would like to face inside the Elimination Chamber. And mentioned that Noven would be the last person that he would defeat to win that Elimination Chamber match.
When pigs fly! You got to be kidding me. Hey, boy. Not only, first of all, he can't defeat me. He damn sure can't.
Oh, no.
There's not a chance,
Oh, no.
not a chance in hell.
No, he never.
I just had to bring it up since we mentioned him. So.
Well, thank you for amusing me here tonight.
Yes.
Funny.
I love the youngster to death and all, but he sure does have some silly thoughts at times, doesn't he, Nevon?
Well, I'm glad we can agree and laugh on something, Martini.
Oh, yes, definitely.
All right. Now, I want to move on to another company that you ventured to. I believe you've only showed up there once so far. It was kind of recent. You showed up in NGW. And at their show called The Biggest Dick. That's the name of it.
Yeah.
You wrestled Fair enough. You
Kevin
wrestled
Shaw, if you watching, you know I ain't PG. Ain't nothing Nevon gonna be involved in. It ain't gonna be no PG. Okay, so just point
nope.
Right. You competed against a certain El Jabero at that show.
El Jabero.
Yes. And
oh shit!
You actually lost to El Jabero in that match.
Damn, it just punched me right in the heart. Damn, Tony.
You lost.
Sorry.
You know, I can't handle this mentally. You know, guys. You know, I'll be back. I need to take a minute to comprehend this. Nevon, this is a prayer for you. I hope you can get back up on your feet, brother. Much faith in you. Much love, man. Much love. But, you know, that was a pretty...
Make no mistake about it. I'm still on top of the mountain.
You still are, yes. You're still the king of the mountain. But, you know, everyone's got their road bumps, and that's all he was. That's all he was. He was just a road bump. You know, yeah, Oh, no, you finished? You finished?
Yeah, because you're starting to cut me off a little bit here.
I'm sorry.
Okay, don't change my mood up, okay? We don't want none of that. Okay, but the thing with El Jabero, apparently he's NGW is one of their top guys. I was informed when I got the call if I wanted to join that mega show for them. You know, I said, why not? Another person to put down. And I underestimated El Jabero. We had a great singles match. Wrestling,
good, yes.
You know, no weapons or anything were involved. And he did come out on top on that. Yes, he did. I'll give him credit. He beat me.
However, afterwards, we did see your father, Noven, made a little bit of an appearance.
Did he?
And he did. El Jabero would suffer a fate that many men have. He would take a last rites tombstone from Noven.
Wow, I'm not surprised that my father showed up. That's news to me. I didn't know that, but
haven't seen it back, have you?
I didn't watch it back. No, I was ashamed of losing.
Gotcha.
But I'm glad that it happened because El Jabero, quite frankly, deserved it. He doesn't have the tools, you know, or the character, the charisma, you know, to deserve to beat me. And I slipped on a banana peel, and he picked up that win. And it was a fluke, Tony. So I'm glad my father did that to him.
Now, part of the reason I bring up NGW, I'll get into it a little more later, but we seen two guys from NGW actually venture to BEW to take part in the King of the Yard tournament. Is there going to be a point in time where you're going to show up in NGW again and possibly face either said Charlie Tiger or Ellis Taylor, do you believe? Or that they could possibly come back to BEW for that matter?
Oh, well, definitely from NGW, those two I had my eye on, and I brought them into BEW to the King of the Yard, and I'll probably explain more once we
we'll
on
get into that a little bit more later.
Yeah, but I would love to face them. I definitely would love to. They're awesome, very talented guys. Terrific what they do in the ring, great technicians. Charlie Tiger, I feel like he's the total package, if you ask me. He can do a lot of things in that ring. And
we'd be a little remiss not to mention that Charlie Tiger actually did win their NGW World Title at the end of that event as well. So,
but that doesn't make him have the biggest dick, okay? Just because he won that last match. I got the biggest dick.
Okay. So, what would you have to say about Ellis Taylor, since that was what mentioning him?
Ellis Taylor, there was one time I recall on Twitter, I was tagged in something of his top 10 wrestlers he would love to face in 2017. And number one on that list was none other than the King of the Mountain, Nevon McDonald. And I really do want to make that come into reality one day, to step in the ring with the Weekend rock star.
I think that would be an amazing match that you two would put on. I honestly haven't watched a whole lot of NGW, but the little I've seen of Ellis Taylor between the King of the Yard tournament and his ventures in BTW, he's a very good athlete. He was a little bit cockier than I cared for back when he was teaming with Cyrus X back in the day, but he seems to be not quite as bad now, from what I've seen.
That's an understatement. He was an arrogant prick.
Okay, your words. Agree with it pretty much. Him and Cyrus X together were, leave it at that pretty much. They've gone their separate ways since then. But was there a reason why was Cyrus X not invited to King of the Yard, or did he just not have the opportunity to show up for it? Seems how most of the time you'd see both of those guys together at events like that.
Right. When I thought of Ellis Taylor, I thought of Cyrus X, and unfortunately he couldn't come to the King of the Yard, so Charlie Tiger did, and I guess you can say he took his spot.
Right.
Because I like Cyrus X too. He's a pretty damn good wrestler and deserved to be in the tournament. But it didn't hurt anything.
Right. So you'd say that there'd probably be a very good possibility that we'll see those three guys at some point, more than likely in BEW again?
Yes.
All right. I look forward to seeing that, because I think those three guys are very talented, and honestly, I don't think they get enough credit for what they can do.
I agree.
They need more eyes on them from the little bit I've seen of them.
Yeah.
But that was your only venture that we've seen thus far in NGW. There was another company that we briefly mentioned earlier that you showed up for one show as well, that being DBW Wrestling, Dominating Backyard Wrestling.
Yeah.
You had a match that many people I have seen as well from there, that I've seen on YouTube, against Cameron Jackson. And not just any match, but it was a last man standing match at their Total Domination event earlier this year. What was your opinion of that match?
For me personally, there was a lot riding on that for me. You know, my first time ever stepping in the ring with the brother man, with the master plan. Cameron, I've known Cameron for over a
16.
year now. Yeah, since 2016. And Cameron and I, we met at Jordan Oliver's pro debut show. It was like his first day in the Indies. I went
Gotcha.
there to support him, and Cameron was also there to support Jordan. And we were talking and everything, and we sat next to each other, and we clicked immediately. You know,
Right.
two peas in a pot, like. And I always think like, man, I definitely one day have to face Cameron Jackson.
Right.
Great guy. So when we finally got the opportunity uh, to face in that last man standing, and my first time ever there too at
Right.
DBW,
Yeah.
I didn't really know a lot of them like that too well.
Right.
So yeah, so it was a lot riding on the match for me,
Mhm.
and the crowd was all 16.
Yes, they
Okay,
were.
he might have had the fans in his back pocket, and they loved him, but 95% of them are idiots anyway, so they don't know true royalty, and they should have been on my side. The match was awesome.
Yes, it was.
A lot of people said it was one of the uh, best matches of the year. At least should
Yeah.
be in the calendar, or how you say, one of the choices to pick. And
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that match, and the better
I
man
really
won.
enjoyed watching it, to be honest with you. You two gave it your 110%, 120%, whatever you want to call it, in that match. You tore into each other like just about just like you guys could do to each other. Nobody else could, in my opinion. You two had, I'll say it, you guys had chemistry in that ring. One
Thank
that
you.
you might not have with everybody else, but there's just a certain chemistry between the two of you, in my opinion.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. You
And
guys
it's
both,
okay.
yep, sorry. You guys both hit each other with pretty much everything in your arsenals in that match, and it took a hell of a lot to keep Cameron Jackson down for that 10 count. You barely even made it up yourself for the 10 count, so.
Yeah, that's true. The funny thing is about that match as well. Towards the end there, this was before I put him through that table in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
He caught me one with a heel kick to the throat,
Yes.
and that motherfucker knocked the wind out of me. I had to roll out to the ring, out of the ring, to try to get my bearings together and breathe, because he caught me in the pipe that he
Ooh.
shouldn't have kicked. Man, I was fucked up.
Right.
In my voice, you know how I roar. I couldn't do that after really that kick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to put him down, and put him down hard.
You did.
And I brought in my trusty equalizer, who it never fails me,
Right.
and I put him down on top of it.
Doesn't. Yep, I'd agree. I want to get back into that trusty equalizer in a little bit when we get to another show, but a little bit more into that later. I would agree that was probably one of, if not the best, the match of the year so far this year out of every event and every show, especially in DBW. I would say
Wow.
that was the best match that they've had.
Wow. Thank you so much for saying it. That definitely means a lot.
That was indeed a very good match.
Thank y'all.
Also, I'm back from comprehending El Jabero. My apologies.
Yeah, you may have missed it, but El Jabero did take a Last Rites tombstone after that.
Yes,
match.
no, I have seen that actually,
Oh, gotcha.
and that was a good thing that he did, because he's a nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Your father did the right thing.
Yes, but let me also say about Cameron. I have a ton of respect for Cameron Jackson, and
Right.
if it wasn't for him, after he joined BEW, and he started talking to me about other federations out there, including UWE and BTW,
Mm-hmm.
and he the one that told me about Best in the Yard, and more than anybody, he would be the one to travel or get me to travel with him to places. And
Right.
so I would say if I didn't meet him, I don't know if we'd be talking right now or what, because my mind was always closed with just working in BW, focusing on my promotion. I didn't really care about any other stuff that was going on outside of it.
Right.
But he opened my eyes to a whole different thing in the whole community. And Best in the Yard 2 was the best time I've ever had. And I always want to travel now, thanks to Cameron. So thank you, Cameron, so much for that. I told you in the past, but I'm saying it publicly here. So I appreciate that. I won't forget it.
I just hope that Cameron actually gets a chance to see this and hear those words. I'm not positive that he's seen any of these shows before.
Oh, hell. Nevon McDonald's on this shit now. They definitely
Right?
going to be, everybody's going to be watching this shit. This is
Everybody.
Talk Wrestling. And y'all going to be watching it. Nevon McDonald on this shit. Okay. We hear Martini. Well, okay, we don't need to talk about him. He ain't all that. But I'm on here, and y'all tuning in. Don't worry.
I got you. Thank you. But yeah, I would say that was an awesome match that you and Cam had either way. Pretty much the last thing I can say about it is just I was amazed by the match and all. Definitely was a match that you wouldn't stay in your seat by the end of it. You'd be up cheering along with the match pretty much, in my opinion.
Yeah, we had that crowd hooked. They were all on their feet watching. The kids, some of them got a little scared too at times because things got really graphic or barbaric. But yeah, it was a lot of fun working with Cameron. I would love to do it again.
Now, do you think you'll probably venture to DBW again at some point?
I would say so. Yeah, definitely at some point. Especially, there's some guys there who have challenged me to a match. For instance, there's Mr. Judgment, who at the end of that very event that I faced Cameron on, Total Domination,
Yep.
he challenged my father, Noven, to a match.
Yes,
So
he did.
I don't know when, I don't know if that my father going to accept that, but I plan on one day returning to DBW and, checking off names.
Off the list. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I believe that was pretty much the only companies that you've ventured to currently. Is there any companies that we've left off there?
I think you got them all. I mean, there was one that I went to, but here, I'm going to tell y'all this story. Yeah, it's story time with Nevon.
Okay.
It was,
Rapid.
yeah, so I traveled to this federation in Kingston, New York with Yankee, and Cameron was there, Shadow Grim was there, and this federation name was EWF. It was owned by Owen Devine. Okay. And it was their last event because of this whole thing that Yankee did with this boy. I don't know the boy name, but the dude wasn't selling shit right. Yeah, and you gotta sell in there. You definitely gotta sell. And Yankee, he gonna lay it on you if you don't, to make you feel it, as he should. So
yes.
There was a point in the match where the boy went to pick up Yankee, and this boy is small. He ain't got no business picking up a big man like Yankee.
Right.
And he went to pick him up for, I don't know, a Samoan drop or something on the outside. And Yankee was like, no. And the dude was like, just do it or something. Let me do it, or I don't know, something like that. So anyway, he went to pick him up, and Yankee landed on his ankle. And the ankle was crushed. He had a big, something happened to his ankle so bad that he had to go to the doctors, the hospital. And Owen Devine, he had a thing for that boy. So we had to go home. And I always let Yankee know that it was his fault that he destroyed EWF. And the character may love it, but the man behind the character is a shame.
Gotcha. Now, there's a few more topics I want to get onto, but first I want to ask you a question. I would assume, from what I've heard, you've seen the other episodes of Tiger Talks Wrestling, correct? The podcast?
Yeah, I've seen many of them. Yeah.
Now, your name and your father's name have been mentioned quite often throughout those shows. What is your reaction to that?
Well, quite honestly, a lot of them boys got balls. That's what I got to say. But I'm also honored on my end. Uh, I didn't know a lot of them thought that way of me to that level amongst all the greats here in this community, that they would acknowledge me like that and want to have a match with me.
Right.
I really appreciate it, and I would love to face them as well. So,
Fair enough. Yeah, I just wanted to get that out there. Wanted to see how you felt about that, because every show I've had, your name has been mentioned. Yours or your father's name has been mentioned by every single person I've interviewed. So
I just so humbled. I did not know that they I mean, the dark side, yes. I
obviously,
definitely
yes.
knew that he wanted a piece of me again. You know that boy ain't got no brains, just all guts. But yeah. So to hear Jamal Payne, Evan Blake, Dustin Reagan, am I leaving anybody out? D-Lock. D-Lock is
Yes,
another.
don't forget D-Lock.
I love all of them. I definitely want to face each and every one of them.
Oh yeah, that a lot of those guys you have not been in the ring with yet, and your father has not been in the ring with yet. So, as I mentioned, as they brought you up, those all would be awesome matches to see at some point. I hope that it happens.
Yeah. Me too.
All right. Now, I don't know how involved you are with it. It does take place in the BEW arena, that being Proving Ground. What is your opinion of the episodes that have been uploaded so far of Proving Ground and the concept altogether?
Oh, I love it. I love Proving Ground. I'm actually the one that allowed them to be at the at my ring and to wrestle. And Yankee came to me and he wanted to do something different to give opportunities to guys who may not get it on my show. So
Right.
to give them, a chance to be seen and in a different light, you know.
Yes.
So I'm all for it. I love Proving Ground. I love what Yankee and Cameron have done. I think Yankee now is taking all responsibility and everything now that Cameron
Right.
is with North Carolina. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love it. I love Proving Ground. Everybody's doing great.
Mhm.
Hellhound definitely catching my eye a lot more.
Oh yeah, my eye too, quite a bit.
Striker, the champion Victor Van Pelt, one of the funniest
Yeah.
dudes I know. So yeah, I love Proving Ground, and they got a show coming up too. Stand Your Ground is that next mega event for Proving Ground.
Yep. And I believe tomorrow evening rather, at 7 p.m. is when their next episode 4, will be uploaded. They've announced. So.
All right. Can't wait to see it. Make sure y'all check it out on the BEW channel. They also got their own personal channel as well. So it'll be on both.
I've enjoyed it quite a bit, and I think it's a awesome concept to have. Not something that you see from anybody else, pretty much, in backyard wrestling. So. Yeah, I would agree. They have done a great job, Yankee and Cam, with that.
Nothing but great things coming there.
And I've heard rumors of several more people showing up there that you haven't seen yet, too. So, quite intrigued to see who all does.
Oh yeah, I know Arnold gonna be there. He gonna be interviewing or maybe helping Carlitos with commentary here and there. So be on the lookout for that.
All right, fair enough. Now, I'm kind of skipping over your own event here for a moment, but I want to go into Best in the Yard 3 here for a minute. I know it kind of got uploaded before all of King of the Yard did, so that's part of the reason why I want to dive into Best in the Yard first. As we mentioned earlier, technically, at first, you were supposed to be in Best in the Yard 3 against Avery Hoke, which did not happen. So therefore, Drew Hood actually called out your father, Noven, and those two competed at Best in the Yard 3 in one hellacious, what ended up being pretty much no-holds-barred match. At first, it wasn't, just Drew waved off the referee calling for disqualification when weapons got involved in the match. Have you seen that match?
No. I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't watched it.
Now, have you seen...
I just can't believe the fact that I didn't get my chance to be on Best in the Yard again. You know.
Right.
It just sickens me. I can't believe it. Avery, I really wanted to do that match, regardless of, the whole stuff going on. That we were going to get past it and be able to have that man versus man match. But at least Father got his chance, and I did find out that he did what he said he was going to do and put down Drew Hood, DH and HD. And I warned Drew. I said, tread lightly.
Right.
And he didn't listen to me. He kept digging deeper and deeper into my life and my past. I begged the son of a bitch, and I don't beg people off. Actually, I never beg people. The hell with that. And I begged him not to go. He went to the length to go into my old house that I lived in as a child in Maxton, North Carolina. That's where I'm from. And he went there. That's how you know he crazy. To go into that now abandoned building and find my book that I had hidden in there. I'm not even going to go into depth with that because, quite frankly, I know I'm too insane to explain and you're too normal to understand. So I don't think I should.
Okay. I will say this about that match. It did take not one but two El Kabong shots pretty much for Noven to pick up the win. The second one being a Last Rites tombstone onto the guitar, actually, that got him the win in that match.
Wow. Well, he gets the guitars from me. At least I did something right. That now he's using the guitar in his arsenal to put down people. So he got that from me, his son. Hopefully I made him that.
Oh, I'm sure you probably have in that way. Have you seen any other parts of Best in the Yard?
Yeah, I actually did.
Okay.
I did with that. I just didn't want to watch that one.
Right.
Because I knew what was going to happen anyway. It's like having a magic ball that can see the future.
Right.
When you mess with Noven, you're going to pay in the end, and you're going to lose and regret anything you have done to provoke him. But you can ask me about any other match, yes.
Well, I'm going to ask you first about the overall event. What did you think of the show?
Oh, phenomenal. It was the greatest BYW show ever.
I'd agree.
So many awesome matches.
Mm-hmm. So, I'll touch on a couple matches that I've touched on with just about every guest that has been a part of this. The first one I want to touch on was, I've mentioned publicly that it was my favorite match of the show. Every match was close to it, but it was the match that was just about a year in build as well, because these two men faced off at WrestleCon last year, which really got me into watching more and more of their videos, and got me into watching more of UWE for that matter. That being Rick Rios and Big Time Mike's 3 Stages of Hell match that they had. Yeah. What was your opinion of that match?
Oh, God. Tony, that was some sad shit.
It was.
That was very, very emotional. And, just those two guys, they definitely went to battle. No, they went to war. They went to war with each other. I didn't have the chance to watch their first clash at the WrestleCon.
Yep.
That was before I got into the whole crossovers. But Best in the R3 when them two went at it, man. It's like two trains colliding. And seeing Mike, retire at the end there, or before two, against his will, and he was handcuffed.
Mm-hmm.
Something told me that this would probably happen, that was going to be his last match, but I didn't believe it until it actually did happen.
Right.
And
Yeah, it was the same way for me. So.
Yeah, and I know you can hear. I was there. I watched live.
Right.
I know y'all can hear me in the audience. I was screaming no. I just couldn't believe it, because Mike is awesome, and I always wanted to face him too, and I never got the chance. So I wish I could have had a match with him, did some type of storyline or something with Big Time Mike. So it's a great loss for BYW, but
Right.
Rick Rios is now ascending to the top, and that's where he deserves to be.
I would agree with that. I've also stated publicly that I believe that Rick Rios is very underrated. Yep, he's been one of the top guys in UWE since the beginning, but still he doesn't get the credit he deserves. And with that win, I think as long as he goes to the right places and gets the right spotlight, he should be getting more and more credit.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the badass.
Right.
Love the theme song too. I love that because I'm a badass.
Pretty nice. So now I want to get into a topic from Best in the Yard that I bring up with most guests as well. That being, we've seen Yankee the Difference Maker and Zach Daniels in the main event. I have on YouTube and Twitter had many people claim that they thought that match should not have been the main event of Best in the Yard. Do you believe it should have been there, or do you think another match should have been in that place?
Oh no, it should have been the main event. I witnessed firsthand when Yankee arrived on the scene in BTW, and he had a target, Zach Daniels. Mm-hmm. I didn't know their background. He never explained to me here in New York his history with Zach Daniels. But I saw what he was doing, and I saw the whole build and everything for them leading to their main event clash. And I just think it deserves the main event for sure. Two incredible athletes in their own right.
Yep, my 2 points for my reasoning saying that they deserve that spot, the main event spot, is one, they had almost a year build. And obviously if you and Avery would have had your match, it would have been exactly a year build. So I could see possibly saying that one should have been a main event if it would have happened. But a lot of people were saying a different match should have been, which we'll get into here in a moment. And my second point that deserved the main event, look at what Zach Daniels did at the first two Best in the Yards. It speaks for itself. The matches he had against Daisy and Chase Bridges last year, at Best in the Yard 1 and then at Best in the Yard 2, and the year he's had in BTW where he was YouTube champion for almost a full calendar year, to me that just gives you the reasons why he deserved that Best in the Yard main event spot.
I agree. And I'm so proud, of him and, definitely for Yankee, because he's a BW guy.
Yes.
To go into that match, and that card was stacked. A lot of great wrestlers on there, a lot of great matches and first time ever clashes. And the pressure that must be going through both those boys, and probably thinking, could I pull this off? Right. Can we pull this off? Can we actually, after everything that went down, steal the show?
Right.
Man, but they went out there and they had an outstanding performance and still did an awesome job in one of the best matches on the show. So I'm proud of both of them for doing that.
Now, the other match I wanted to touch on that I kind of alluded to was many people would say the two biggest names in backyard wrestling colliding, being Cameron Jackson and Cage. and a lot of people said that they thought that match should have been the main event. To me, I just can't see it being put in the main event. Yes, I could see Cam being in the main event because he was part of the main event for the first two Best in the Yards, but I don't mean to take anything away from Cage. He's an awesome competitor. He's a great indie wrestler, as we see now. He's a part-timer in backyard wrestling, though. So that's part of the reason why I would say that match honestly didn't deserve the main event spot. Yes,
I agree.
Yes, he and his channel have a lot more viewers than most of the other channels, but still, that's not enough to give him the main event.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that 100%. However, I love the match.
Oh, yes, I loved it too.
Yeah, those did and more. With Cameron and Cage. Actually, never watched KBW. I never watched them. I just knew that Cage was a big name from what everybody was talking about leading to it. And, when he arrived, I didn't know, would they boo him or would they cheer him? I didn't know him that well.
Right.
But, it was still a very good match. Very good. Some people, they don't like how it ended with the double count out. But I feel like that was the right way to go with it, for sure.
Yeah, at first I was skeptical of the finish, but the more I thought about it, the more I was like, well, it made sense. What good does it do for either one of the men, really, to win that match when, as mentioned, Cage is a part-timer, so if he beats Cam, what happens to Cameron Jackson in his career? Whereas if Cam wins the match, where does he go from there? How can he get any higher than beating Cage?
That was going through my mind leading into it. I would have some phone conversations with Cameron before Best in the Yard 3 when they were all that heat in their those
such a great build.
KW invasion, all that. So I would talk to him. If you remember correctly, I was on one of those videos too.
Yep.
With a phone conversation with Cameron, and so I was thinking the same thing. I was a little worried for him too. I didn't know if he was going to lose or not.
Right.
I didn't think he deserved to lose, but they definitely did the right thing. That's how the way to go with it.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Oh.
Is there any other matches on the card that you have that you want to mention?
Oh yeah. There was the triple threat match.
Oh yes.
D-Lock, Bridges. My half brother got the opportunity to call that one, and he had so much fun. He told me with that one, and those boys laid it all on the line.
They did.
Awesome match. If you didn't know Jackson, you definitely do now. After that.
Oh yeah, you definitely do.
Yeah.
I went into that with the podcast with D-Lock into that match quite a bit, and I'll mention it again here. Jackson Hendricks, to me, stole the show in that match. So he may not have won the match. He was the one pinned by D-Lock, but still, that kid, he outshined both D-Lock and Chase Bridges, in my opinion.
Okay, yeah. For me, in my opinion, it was probably equal in my book because they all did
Just
such a fine job in that match. Man, they just kept going. I remember Arnold saying it was like Sonic the Hedgehog coming after Chase, and Chase dodged it and hit him with a rocket kick or some shit. I don't know. They were all over the place. Action was fierce. So I loved it. I loved that one. And if I can speak on another one, what's his name? Dirty DeChico and Dustin Reagan, I thought was a very good match too. And
I'll say about that match, I was very surprised by. You don't see Dustin Reagan get decimated like he did in that match. For one thing, he doesn't get in matches with brawlers that often, and that's exactly what Dirty DeChico is. So.
Yeah. Oh my God, they really tore the house down. Hashtag tear it down, if you will.
There you go.
I really enjoyed that one. I think that was, and we spoke about the others. Yeah, so those are my favorite. Victor Van Pelt and Kevin Shaw. They had a entertaining match.
Yeah.
Uh, I thought it was pretty amusing. Had the Big Mama. What's the name? I don't know. Kevin's mom.
Kevin's mom, yeah.
Yeah,
And then Buford as
and and the
rolled
daddy
out his
view.
dad. Yep.
That was some crazy shit. That was funny. I had no idea watching that was going to happen. I was just so surprised and amused. So I applaud them for that, for bringing that entertainment to Best in the Yard when there's a lot of serious
Right.
personal bouts.
Yes.
So yeah, it's like good to have some different things and a mixture
Right.
on the card.
Yeah, and you
So
got a little entertainment at the beginning of the show too, when with the Bad Sons before the match actually happened as well. So
yeah, I love the Bad Songs. Love the Bad Songs. My
right.
favorite tag team of all time, the Bad Songs.
I can't go that far.
And BYW, I say.
Yeah, I still could go that far. Uh, there's a couple other teams that I'd have over the Bad Sons. Take over the Bad Sons any day. Uh, that's
Who, the
neither here
Top
nor there.
Guns?
I wasn't gonna go with them, but
The Top Guns?
no offense to the Top Guns, but no, I was thinking more of TOP for one.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, goodness. Oh, I can't. Yeah, TOP. Arnold called a match at Best in the R2.
Yep.
He had a fun time with that one. TOP is definitely a decorated BYW tag team for sure. Maybe I
And
shouldn't
then
say the best tag team of all time for Bad Sons. Well, they're up
right.
there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was gonna say TOP. You can't take anything away from because if memory serves correctly, they are undefeated in tag team action
Are they
in
really?
backyard wrestling. I do believe so.
Wow.
I mean, they've beaten some of the greatest tag teams in there. They even won a Fatal 4-Way match at one point that you can find on a UWE Lockdown against Everett Creed and Cameron Jackson was one team, and Jason Walker and Corey Graves were the other team, and Cage and AK-47 were actually the third team that they
Wow.
defeated in that Fatal 4-Way match. So
Yeah. Actually, what comes to mind with the first BYW tag team that I, saw really as a cohesive unit was TOP. Yeah, they're
there you go.
definitely one of the greatest.
Yep, in my opinion, when they're together and they're on their game, there's no team that can top them.
Mm-hmm.
Pun intended.
But
All right. But moving on from there, that's pretty much what we'd want to say about Best in the Yard 3. You got any other thing you want to say about it before we move on?
well, DHNHD, I think if we want to step out of the box for a moment,
Sure.
Drew and that whole rivalry with me and Noven, that was one of the best rivalries I've ever had in my life. I didn't even know I was going to face Drew
Right.
until it was getting close to Best in the Yard too, 3 that is,
Right.
and we were afraid Avery something might happen, so there was a backup plan, and
Yeah,
Drew
good thing you had it.
yeah, and I knew rather that it's Best in the Yard, and I definitely want to try to steal the show,
Right.
and I can't travel all the way down there and not have a good match. When I
Right.
go down, I plan on doing my absolute best and getting the same from my opponent. And when Drew called me up and he asked me if I wanted the match, I was so honored. Uh, he's coming off that Best in Yard 2 main event win against Cameron, and everything he's done in VTW. And I hear he's been in the community for over a decade.
Yes.
So I said yes immediately,
Right.
and I really did enjoy it. That helped me get more creative with my story for Noven.
Right.
because I knew it was Best in the Yard and I needed a good story. So I ran that by him. He read the whole thing, and he loved it. And I said, "Yeah, this is what we definitely got to do." And he was open to go to that abandoned place, and we did
Right.
all shit, and it was one of the best rivalries. And that promo package he created, phenomenal,
Mm-hmm. I
phenomenal.
agree. Yes, I've given you guys, Noven and Drew, praise for that. Not only that match, but the build towards it in such a short amount of time. Awesome, awesome job. I agree.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Now I'm stepping
Like,
back into the box. He's a piece of trash.
right. Um, so we've kind of mentioned it, and since it was supposed to happen at Best in the Yard, before I get into King of the Yard, which is the next topic, do you believe the match with Avery Hoke will happen at any point in the future?
Well, quite frankly, I think after Best in the Yard was really, really upset at him, and I didn't want nothing to do with him anymore after doing so much work impersonating him. Actually, I got the damn. I knew I brought it over. Remember this?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I did that too. I went out and got a mask, started impersonating him, really try to, get the rivalry going. And
Mm-hmm.
so the fact that we didn't have the match, it stung. If I'm being
Right.
honest, not in character anymore.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't think I really want to do the match.
Okay.
Maybe if there's time for it, because I need to face some other wrestlers that they got that I really
Right.
want to compete against, and I know they want to face me too. So
Yeah.
if there's time, maybe a vindication or something,
Right.
against Avery. But he's a really nice person, Avery. I will
Mm-hmm.
say that the kindest heart. He lets us stay in his garage or whatever that is, the VTW building.
Right.
So that's his property, and
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate him for that. But I don't know about a match now. I'm kind of over that.
Gotcha. I just had to ask because people would, I'm sure, want to know whether or not
Yeah, I
something
know
that
the
possibly could
character.
happen.
The character definitely want the match to really dismantle Avery once and for all.
Right.
But personally, I don't really care if
Gotcha.
I. Yeah.
I can't blame you for that. All the build that you did, especially towards leading into that what should have been match that would have happened at Best in the Yard. I don't blame you one bit for feeling that way.
Yeah.
But on another note, let's move on to King of the Yard. Um, what brought about King of the Yard?
It was after Best in the Yard 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I met a lot of people down there that I
Right.
didn't know,
Right.
and I actually left my iPhone here in New York. And the whole time there, I was there for 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't need the phone at all. Nowadays everybody need their phone with them. Are you kidding me?
Right.
But I had so much fun down there, bonding with them boys. I I would love to have them up here.
Right.
And Jordan Oliver suggested we do a tournament, and he's the one that came up with the idea. It was him.
Really?
I'll give credit for that. Yeah, Jordan is the one we should said we should do King of the Yard tournament.
Okay.
So yeah, so I decided, okay, as time draws near in the new year's 2017, I got confirmations at reunion from boys that were interested,
Mm-hmm.
and I called a lot of people from different companies, and so I was starting to put everybody together, matches together in first rounds, and
Right.
uh, Some people didn't like how things were booked. Some
Mhm.
people didn't like being eliminated first round. But damn, somebody got to lose,
Right.
I did the
True.
best and I got a lot of shit from a lot of people for that tournament. It is so hard being a booker sometimes. And it was getting stressful. And I was kind of relieved. Thank goodness it's over. But don't
Right.
get me wrong, I had fun, with everything
Yeah.
I did. But damn, there was quite a bit of unhappy faces.
Right. Now, this might bring you out of character a little bit here, but I do want to ask you. I had talked to the dark side about the editing portions of King of the Yard and how long it took to upload everything. Is there anything you wanted to say on that topic?
Oh, when I wake up, okay, in the afternoon, because I'm not a morning person, but when
Yeah,
I
me either.
wake up and I look on the channel and I see, you know, damn, we don't got another video, a new video or nothing,
Mhm.
and it hurts me, because I really want to get things out weekly, like I said earlier,
Right.
but our um our schedules don't always match up
Yeah.
because we pre-record our commentary, and
Mhm.
then there's I know he needs help with the editing, and I've been working on that, and I got some guys now that's helping him
Right.
trying stuff out,
Mhm.
so to get things out quicker, because we have so much content, awesome
Yeah.
content that everybody would love, and that would definitely put us way up there than we already are.
Mhm.
And it's just it does hurt. I want to get things out for the fans, for
Mhm.
you guys, everybody on the roster,
Right.
and we're working on it. And Kelly, he's awesome at what he does. That's the dark side.
Yep.
Uh, the stuff he puts into it, he takes a lot of time out of his day to work into that, and I appreciate it.
Right. All right. Yeah, I just had to ask about that because, like I said, I know Darkseid and I went into that a little bit, and I just wanted to know how you felt about it. If you felt that he was right in how he was feeling towards it and everything, but to me, in the end, it took a long time for everything to get uploaded for King of the Yard, yes, but at least it all got uploaded.
Oh
That's the
God,
main thing that mattered to me.
that's what I wanted more. I knew as weeks go by that the new one ain't up, and I'm just
Hmm.
like, oh my goodness, you see the stuff being promoted. That's me promoting the shit, okay,
Right.
and I just want it to go up. I want the people to see it,
Yeah.
you know. Especially my goal, I wanted it up before Best in the R3, wanted it up,
Right.
and we just couldn't get it up.
Right.
The boys at BTW, they even waited on us a little bit too,
Right.
and postponed. Yeah, I don't think the viewers knew it, but they postponed it a little bit longer to see if we can get it up, but we failed. So
Hmm.
I apologize for that deeply. But
Right.
like you said, it did get up.
Hmm.
The people see it. We have a winner. So
That you do. And let's go into the King of the Yard tournament then for a moment here. We saw you facing AK-47 there in the first round.
this is where things gonna change now.
Yep.
Okay, the happy face is gone. All right, the ultimate humiliation, and you don't even need to tell me about it because I know what happened. Obviously, I'm the
Hmm.
man. I'm the owner. I know what went down.
Right.
So, AK-47, KBW Star, I made sure that I was going to face him first so I could put under one of the biggest names in BYW.
Hmm.
I was given a task to bury as much talent as I could. And that I wanted to do, and that is what I was supposed to do. But AK-47, man, the fucking uh, what is it? What is the finisher maneuver with the super kick?
The headshot.
Headshot. That man, he caught me out of nowhere, right in the eye, and I just got fucked up, and I lost that. I was like, it's only been 10 seconds. I'm Nevon McDonald. I ain't going down like that. Are you kidding me? So, with the power and authority invested in me, I restarted the match.
You did.
He had no choice but to accept. And in that second part of it, I was having my way with him. That is what I'm all about. I was beating the crap out of him. I worked that head and neck. And I was putting a beating on that boy, but put me with a roll-up pinfall, and I didn't get it. I didn't win. And then there's the third one. I tried. I really did. I beat him down with a fucking chair, and the dude still came back. I said, this is unbelievable. A side cradle, what is it? A side cradle pin?
Inside cradle.
Inside cradle, yeah, for the win. I lost, but so did he in the end.
In the end, yes, he did. In the finals, of course, to Cameron Jackson, as we all seen. My opinion to that was no better person could have won the King of the Yard tournament. The rightful person did win it, in my opinion. No offense to you, but still, Cameron Jackson has done so much for the backyard community and has traveled so many places that I just felt that he was the right person to win the King of the Yard tournament.
Well, if it wasn't going to be me, then it should have been Cameron Jackson. So, yeah. However, Cameron Jackson, Mr. CJ, has no one to thank but me. And as you see, maybe on his Twitter and his bio or whatever, he doesn't really talk about the King of the Yard much because he feels like the victory is tainted for what I did. AK-47 didn't deserve to be King of the Yard, and I made damn sure of it that he wasn't going to win the tournament I created. Cameron Jackson, he may not be as proud as he should be to be the King of the Yard winner, the very first, but he owes me a thank you regardless.
Now, other than obviously your early exit in it, what would you say was your feelings of the overall tournament?
A lot of boys did well. A lot of good matches on there. I know some people say all the matches were good. There was some that I really didn't think that was that good. But some of the boys out there, like I remember Zach Daniels and Ellis Taylor. I remember that match vividly. It was a really good match.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, you enjoyed that too, huh?
I did very much. Yeah. I'd say it was probably one of my top 3 favorite matches of the whole show. So.
Yeah, I think we talked about it before. Your top 3 is my top 3, which is Dustin Reagan and CJE. They had a great match, and both. Let's not forget about the Battle of the Behemoths. Yankee the Difference Maker and Mr. Judgment.
And those two put on one hell of a match that had some very surprising spots in that match. You can't talk about that match without mentioning Yankee diving through the ropes onto Judgment on the floor.
Damn.
That big man, he should not be flying like that. You wouldn't think a big man like that would be anyways.
He is something else. I'm telling you, he is a different species, is Yankee. He's really good. What can he not do,
Right.
Mr. Good too now, though. I wanted to make sure I give DBW's president an opportunity here at the King of the Yard, and he definitely showed out. He beat Paradox, and then he went in there with Yankee. He didn't come out with the win, but he definitely left his mark, and people know who he is for sure now.
Now, since you did mention that match, was there any specific reason why you paired Judgment and Paradox in the first round? It was the only match that we've seen two guys from the same federation against each other.
It was originally supposed to be Mr. Judgment versus someone I can't remember for some reason, but the dude couldn't show, whoever it was. Might have been Cyrus X, or no, I don't know. I don't remember, but
Okay.
Judgment was supposed to face someone else, but it didn't happen. So the plan B, which everyone should always have a plan B. Judgment told me about the Paradox, a wrestler from his company, and I said, okay, yeah, all right, you two will go at it.
Okay. And I was just wondering because, like I said, that was pretty much the only match during the entire tournament where you're seeing two guys from the same federation face each other. So.
Yeah, and I always want to do different things, different matches and stuff. So, I guess that one, it wasn't, but it was still good.
It was, yeah, they put on quite a show in that match as well. Judgment had control throughout a lot of that match against Paradox, so. But
boom.
Still, it was a good match.
He does that boom thing.
Yes, he does.
Judgment's
lane, yep. I know Judgment's going to have, and DBW's going to have some run-ins with the Murder Club from what I've been hearing as well, so that'll be something to look forward to in DBW here eventually.
Damn right. The Murder Club ain't nothing to mess with. They ride together, they die together. And the Judgment, he the one that better come correct once they come through.
And for anybody who hasn't caught my other episodes or hasn't heard the news, at some point in the near future, I don't know when exactly, I can't give you a time, but more than likely the very first Tiger Talks Wrestling live stream for a podcast will be me having the Murder Club on the show. I don't know who all will be joining yet, but I can tell you there's 3 guys at least that are definite to be a part of that. That being the badass himself, Rick Rios, TJ Sakara, Third Eye Theorist, and, of course, Yankee the Difference Maker.
Very nice. If I can just back up a little bit with the Murder Club, since we're talking about them, how great Tony, and if the other boy on here, how great was it that Best in the Yard, that pre-show, that fucking Kristen, she shouldn't have been nowhere near it. Yankee said, bring that bitch. Zach brought her. Goddamn. Powerbomb. And the boy Zach was sitting there watching. He couldn't do nothing about it. I was so proud of Yankee. Believe it or not, I'm going to toot my horn a little bit here. I did tell him, because he did tell me his plan, to make sure you slap that ass before you powerbomb her. And I loved it. I loved every minute of it. It was great. It was great.
Yeah.
Murder Club is awesome.
Yep. The slap in the ass and then how she landed were the two things that you took away the most from it, with the back of her neck snapping, pretty much snapping on that table and not actually going through the table. Which looked like it could have been very bad for her. I'm sure it actually wasn't, but still. Could have been worse than what it looked like it turned out to be anyways.
It all led to the epic clash. So yeah, I was happy with it all. But yeah, now we can go back to the other.
Oh, where was I?
I think we were talking about King of the Yard.
Yeah, I think so too. But yeah, King of the Yard to me was an awesome event to watch. Like as mentioned earlier, would have been nice to see it uploaded a little bit quicker, but nonetheless, it was great once we've seen every episode. I've heard rumors and rumblings. Would you be willing to possibly confirm these rumblings that King of the Yard 2 may be taking place next year?
Well, it remains to be seen. I went through a lot of hell for this first King of the Yard. A lot of backstage shit was going on. But I think it will probably be a good thing if we do, keep up with the tradition, and add some more new talent to it that wasn't in the first one, and of course give more opportunities for the ones who was in it the first time. So
Right.
I would love to do it again. We got to see if we can get more, these 32 men
Mm-hmm.
together, confirm, and we can
Right.
try to set it up.
Now, let me ask you one thing that did happen during the King of the Yard tournament. We seen Rick Rios win his first round match, only to not be able to partake in his second round match. What was your opinions on that whole situation?
I was pretty upset, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest, because I really love to see Rick compete in the ring, and
Right.
that damn parking ticket, uh, or whatever the hell it was. But
Right.
I really wish that he could have been there because I want to see the hardcore Enigma, the butcher of the slaughterhouse. Okay, Shadow Grim. I was fixing to
Mm-hmm.
say Phoenix, but yeah, Shadow Grim and Rick Rios. Man, that would have been an epic clash. I don't
Man,
know who would have won that one for sure. I really don't know.
that would have been a pick'em, I would say. Um,
Yeah,
to be honest with you, I was a little surprised that Ricky wasn't able to be in that second round because I thought Rick Rios was one guy who could have went quite a ways in the tournament, honestly. So
yeah. So did a lot of people. A lot of people were surprised at that. Um, but things happened and he couldn't
what to
he
do?
couldn't come.
But I will say this: his replacement, Evan Blake, he put on quite the performance against Shadow Grim though in there in the second round.
Fight Evan, fight. He was
Yes,
great.
indeed.
Um, his first time here at BW in the slaughterhouse, and he did his thing with one of the best we got to offer. Uh, I said, or excuse me, Arnold said on the commentary, I think Shadow was taken down very early in that matchup
Mm-hmm.
when in round one, Aaron Jones couldn't put down Shadow uh,
Right.
that quickly. So Evan Blake certainly brought the fight.
Yes, he did. It was an incredible match that those two put on. It has Evan Blake and I spoke recently, and he said that it was one of the hardest hitting matches that he had. That Shadow Grim hits harder than pretty much anybody he's been in the ring with, for one. And he took such a beating in that match that towards the end he went for, I believe he said like a Samoan drop or something along those lines, and he couldn't get Shadow Grim up in the Samoan drop.
Yeah,
That's how
Shadow's a
much
big
of a beating he
guy.
took.
He
Yeah,
is
I
very
can see that.
big. He's a heavy dude. And
But
yes, he hits hard. Very. I would know.
right, you would, as we touched on earlier a little bit there. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, those were a couple matches that happened in the tournament, and like you said, we had our same top three favorites in there. Um, I will kind of toot my own horn a little bit here. I did foresee what the semifinals and finals would be of the King of the Yard tournament rather. So, and I did call who would I would prefer to see win it, and that person did win. So,
Well, pat yourself on the back.
well, thanks.
Yeah,
But
you did it. You came up with it. Well, I came up with it, and you got it
well, yes,
right.
yes. But I will say there were a lot of shocks and surprises throughout the tournament.
And that's what I wanted. Surprises. People,
Yes.
Can't predict so easily, but for some reason, you did. So you did it right.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to predict every single match who won successfully, but just the final four and the final two I did. So,
The most important ones.
yes. Um, I kind of touched on them earlier. I do want to mention again Ellis Taylor and uh, Charlie Tiger.
Yes.
Those two guys, they showed out quite a bit in their two matches that each one of them had, in my opinion. They were the first two to get submission victories in the first round. Out of, I believe there was only three of them in the first round, submission victories. There wasn't that many submission wins, period, in the tournament, but those two guys both did. And then their second round matches where Ellis lost to Zach and Charlie lost to Dustin. Whew. Those matches,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, I agree. They definitely need to be seen a lot more. They can do
Right.
so much in that ring
Mm-hmm.
that would amaze people.
Yeah.
And I was so happy to giving them the opportunity to compete in that King of the Yard and showcase what they got. And they advanced, both of them, to round two.
Yeah. And I would say when, like we said, they faced Zach Daniels, Ellis Taylor did in the second round, I believe, and Charlie Tiger when he against Dustin Reagan. Those are two of the biggest names that you've got there from VTW, and they went toe to toe with those two guys. I
Yeah,
mean, either man could have won those matches.
yeah. The Battle of the Animals, or the Roar, rather, with Dustin and Charlie Tiger.
Which,
That was very physical.
when you mention that, you can't not mention what happened before the match actually began either, where the referee found the what was it, a blade or something in Charlie
Oh,
Tiger's
yeah.
gear. Yeah, that looked like it threw Dustin off his game a little bit there
It
at the
did,
beginning,
sure did. I was like, is this really happening right now?
right?
Like, that's why the referee, that's why they check the opponents before the bell rings to make sure they ain't got no illegal shit in their trunks or tight.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's not often that there's actually something in their tights that they wanted to
Right.
use.
Right.
So that
That's just
Charlie Tiger.
yes, that he was. I know it surprised me that the referee found that on him just as much as it seemed to surprise Dustin, and Dustin checked him himself afterwards. So before the match began, so
Yeah,
I don't blame him. But yeah, they put on a clinic after that too. So
yeah.
I think if there is a King of the Yard too, that both of those two guys would be great additions to it, and probably would go a little ways further. I think if given the opportunity to. But
Never know.
all right. Is there anything else you want to say about King of the Yard before we move on to the next subject?
Yes.
Okay.
The bonus match.
Oh yes, of course. Can't forget that match.
Good God, it was me.
Uh huh.
To have, like I said, AK-47, I wasn't going to have him win at all.
Right.
Period. And I did target him a lot after his matches. One against BW's Johnny Reed, one of my favorites, and another one of my favorites from BW, Shadow Grim.
Right.
And I didn't want him to beat Shadow Grim, that's for sure, after he already beat Johnny. So I came out there, man, those people were livid. I just got to say that they were so freaking irate, and you would think they would be on my side because the home advantage. But those people threw literally full bottles of water. They ain't been emptied out. They would throw that at me, and some of that hurt. And
I would imagine so.
yeah, and it truly shows how much I am disliked and why I don't really care about them either. All I really my father. So, anyway, I wanted to make sure AK didn't go through to the semifinals, or So it hit hard to watch Shadow lose.
Right.
Another BW guy,
Mm-hmm.
and so I just enough is enough.
Right.
So I took that chair and I crushed his ankle, hoping that would have been in. And then I was fixing to cancel the whole damn tournament. That's what was going to happen. Let me just say that here. The tournament wasn't going to make it to no semi or finals. I was supposed to win.
Okay.
So I wanted to end it there, and I definitely have the power to do it. It's my ring. I bought the shit. It's my place. So, next thing you know, who comes out? The man I can't. Yeah, I can't. Why can't I not get rid of him? You in BW, you got the athletic, Top Guns, Jordan, David, Johnny. You got the powerhouse that is Yankee. But the dark side, that's the cockroach of BW. and I'm the fucking exterminator. That's what I'm talking about. Because I can't stand his ass. He always sticking his nose in the business that's not nothing to do with him. And he come on out there, and he wasn't in a tournament. I made damn sure of it. And he drove me over the line. So if it's a fight you want, it's a fight you'll get.
And that he got in a unsanctioned match that you two beat the living hell out of each other. You dominated quite a bit of that match, I'll give you that much. Even though in the end, it was the dark side who got the victory.
Did he really get the victory?
He got the 1, 2, 3 anyways.
If I'm going to be real here, the dark side, you watch back that match, you can see how much I targeted that head of the dark side, the cranium, that deranged mind of his.
Yes, sir.
And he definitely suffered a concussion.
Yes.
And he's going to have to deal with that for a very, very long time. And because of that reason alone, for what I did to him with my bare hands and whatever I can find to pick up, it's going to prohibit him from making it to the goals that he wants to achieve here in my promotion.
Fair enough. I do have to ask, I want to get into another subject here in a moment about some of your guys in BEW, but for that match, there's quite a few naysayers about that match taking place as part of the King of the Yard showing. What would you have to say to those people that didn't agree with that match taking place, whether it was people that were there that felt like it was upstaged the tournament, as I've heard rumors of? What would you have to say to people like that?
Well, y'all opinion do not matter. I say what and who goes. I say what matches take place. I'm the master of the yard. I pull the strings around there. And it is what it is. I didn't expect to have that match, but I didn't also expect to go under in round one and to sit there and to watch all these other people compete, 2 days straight. Come on now. I sitting there watching all the matches. I deserve to showcase what I got and what I can bring to the table. For those who may have not seen me, well, pretty much everybody's seen me, but just saying, I wanted to compete more. A lot of them thought, if we stepping out of the box, that I was going to put myself over to all the way to the end. They thought I was that selfish like that.
Right.
To bury everybody. And I'm not like that,
Right.
if I'm being honest. And but I also, I want to be able to wrestle more. I put AK over like that. For God's sake, I deserve to have another match.
I'd agree with you.
Perhaps it wasn't in the right place.
Yes, that's what I was just gonna say. It might not have been at the right place in time.
Been somewhere earlier on, maybe that. We did in the quarterfinals video, so I can see where people are coming from that, and if I go back and change it, I would, to put it somewhere else. Maybe after Johnny Reed's match with AK, something like that in round 2.
Yes.
But I can't change it now. I wish, if people are still dwelling on it, they need to get over it, because you can't. That's all I got to say.
Okay, fair enough. Then moving into the next subject, we talked about BEW, your time in BEW. I haven't really spoke a whole lot about certain talent in BEW, but I do want to mention a few guys from your company who I have an eye on. The first person I want to touch on is a guy who did very well for himself in the King of the Yard tournament. and is currently the BEW World Heavyweight Champion, Jordan Oliver.
Young shooter, baby.
Young shooter, yes. He on BEW programming is one cocky son of a you know what, but he can back it up in the ring. I know he's gone indies as well, but just the matches that he had in the King of the Yard tournament were awesome. Even after that first round match where he won and still got injured pretty much after the match, to me, I thought was very good way for him to have to fight through it for the rest of the tournament. And in a way, you could look at it as he got injured that early on. That's what took him out in the quarterfinals, I do believe.
Yes.
Yes. And just the effort that he put into those matches, and I was very, very happy with what I seen out of Jordan Oliver in those matches.
Oh, he's an extraordinary performer. He does so much in there, and he was definitely matched well with the opponents he was given.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy everything Jordan does. He's always been one of my favorites in BEW. He's respect dearly. He's like a little brother to me. And I remember when he first came in, this was when he was 14, back in 2014. And man, he was so small, skinny, long hair, looking like a little girl. And he got out that car because I know his older sister. Okay. And she told me, she DM'd me, she said, Nevon, my brother loves wrestling. He's seen what y'all do in BW. Can he get a shot? Can he come down to wrestle with you guys? You know, and I was like, all right, yeah, sure. And when I met him, I was just like, this boy ain't gonna make it. He ain't gonna cut it, you know. But I should know better than to judge a book by its cover. Because that first day, he was German suplexing these big boys and showing his heart. So I was like, man, I definitely got to work with him. Right. So yeah, Jordan's somebody who's really good and a great addition to BW.
Yeah, we seen in the first round match, actually the very first match of the King of the Yard tournament, he got that win over Ecstatic before the Bad Sons injured him. Do you think we'll see another match between Jordan Oliver and Ecstatic somewhere down the line? A rubber match, really, because Ecstatic did beat Jordan Oliver at that Best in the Yard 2 match.
Yeah, that he did. However, to that match, that 2 out of 3 falls, career versus career, they ain't signed no contract. There was no contract signed, so Jordan's career is still intact. Let me just say that.
Okay.
Obviously, yeah. Yep. So I'm just saying, back when it happened, after it all went down, it was like, well, why still wrestling? That's why, because he signed a contract. Gotcha. But yeah, it should be a rubber match. I think it should happen. Okay. I don't know if it will, but I would like to see it happen again. They both got wins over the other, so why not?
Yeah, and I thought they had a pretty decent match to kick off the King of the Yard tournament. I felt that their Best in the Yard match was even better, but it's still a pretty good match that they had. Another person who I've had my eye on quite a bit in BEW lately, and I mentioned this in the Evan Blake podcast that'll be up here shortly, is actually your current Rising Star champion, one Johnny Reed. The things I've seen him do recently, well, not too recently in BEW, but the most recent episodes that you guys have posted have just amazed me. Look at the matches that he's had, or the match at least, that he had with his brother Alan Styles, for instance.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just in awe of what Johnny Reed has been able to do in matches like that one, for instance. And other matches that he's had. He's had some pretty good ones against the Dark Side, for instance. The Dark Side even said that was one of his favorite matches. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Johnny is a shotgun kid.
Yes,
the superior product. He's certainly, well, for one, he's the youngest guy on our whole roster.
Oh, really?
He's the young, yeah, and he's very gifted. Jordan
Right.
actually trained him.
Okay.
He's in the Top Guns, and I really love what they're doing together. And Johnny, I've been in the ring with him one time. It was on the 20th episode of BEW, and we main evented that one. And I was like, man, this boy is an awesome worker. So
Right.
there's so much more of him that's going to be seen. That's going to blow you away even more.
Now, I will say this: I don't think he's the most comfortable when it comes to promos or on mic, anyways. But
Yeah.
his in-ring performances just make it so it doesn't really matter, in my opinion. He's one of those type of people where you've seen it with other wrestlers before, that as long as they can go in the ring, it doesn't really matter if you can talk that well. For instance, let's take... I hate to bring up WWE, but there's one person in particular that you have to mention when you're talking this subject who can't really talk that well, but yet he can kick ass and take names. And that's Brock Lesnar, the current Universal Champion.
Yeah.
Now, not necessarily something that you guys would do because you don't see it very often in backyard wrestling, but if Johnny Reed could get somebody... For instance, right now it's good in the Top Guns because Jordan's pretty decent with his promos, but if Johnny goes on his own at some point and he can get a manager that can talk for him, I could just see him going all the way, world title, shooting up young shooter. No, taking on the young shooter. There we go.
I don't know how much Jordan would love that, because
right?
he liked where things is at,
Oh yeah, I would believe so.
But yeah, that would be something really, really special to see him.
And you can't stay in a faction forever, so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure in the back of his mind he wants to get out of Jordan's shadow because, quite honest, that's where he's at.
Yes, it is. And he can't go much further higher up while being in the Top Guns other than the Rising Star Champion. I'm sure get the hardcore title or whatever, but still, the top prize has to be that world title.
Right.
So.
No, taking nothing away from the Rising Star title because he's been making it, and his battles with his brother Alan, who he retired at Day of Destruction too, by the way.
Yes.
So he's been a great Rising Star champion, but yeah, if you ain't in the business for the world title, you shouldn't be in the business at all.
Right. Which leads me, partially segues into the third and final person that I mainly wanted to talk about from BEW that we haven't touched upon much. That being the current Mr. Money in the Bank, the last survivor, Joseph Anthony.
The last survivor.
Yes. As I was watching back the last couple days through some of the videos leading up into this podcast, he has changed so much over the last year. He's gotten in a lot better shape than what he was a year ago. Just looking like at that triple threat match that you and him and Shadowgrim had, compared to what he looks like now and can compete as, the day and night differential, in my opinion. And again, like I said with Johnny Reed, Joseph Anthony's had some of the most amazing matches as of late in BEW, and you just about count down the days to see when he's going to cash in that Money in the Bank contract, and Jordan Oliver better be watching his back, because I think Joseph Anthony's going to win that title from him when he decides to cash that in.
Well, it's bound to happen now, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but you've seen some cash-ins, elsewhere.
Right.
It's not a success sometimes, so you never know.
Right. Yeah, it's not always 100%, but I mean, Joseph Anthony's a man on the rise, I would say, in BEW. Partially starting at that Money in the Bank, winning the Money in the Bank contract, and he's had a few pitfalls here and there, but still.
Including from me, or father. Sorry. Father.
Yes, he's run into Noven a few times recently, which
Go ahead.
Which might not be the best career idea for him, but you never know.
Practically career suicide. But the thing is with Joseph Anthony, Joseph, for some reason, he's always the target from, let's say, groups,
Mm-hmm.
if you will, BEW Top Guns, Ministry of Destruction. He was always a target. He's one of those lone wolves.
Yes. Yep.
He doesn't like to have help from other people.
Right.
And he's a great athlete and competitor. Yes. I find what he does terrific. I love the chemical reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So Joseph, big things. On actually the first episode of BEW, it wasn't actually the very first episode, but for YouTube, yes.
Yeah.
Joseph Anthony and I went at it one-on-one in a first blood match.
Okay.
And it was a really good one, that one as well. And one of my finest guitar shots, too, might I add. I got a soft spot for Mr. Joseph Anthony.
Right.
So let's leave it at that.
Okay. So now I want to move on from King of the Yard and BEW superstars. There's a few other guys I probably could talk about, but those are 3 guys that I've really got an eye on that I think have very, very bright futures in BEW. Even with Jordan Oliver being one of them and him being the current BEW World Champion, I could see that man holding the title as long as he wants to, just about. But I could see him holding it several more times if he sticks around to do so as well. So.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I want to move it in to, as you mentioned, guitar shots. What would you say would be your top 3 favorite El Kabongs?
Oh, what a question! Yes, Lord, yes. Well, man, that might have been the best question you asked me in this whole time in this interview. I'll be honest. Let me see here. Let me see. So, 1, goodness. That's a tough one, too. But I think number 3. Let me start with 3.
Yep.
I'm going to go with the one to Cyrus.
Okay.
At when I was at the then ECW, Eastern Chaos Wrestling, with that match we got earlier, because that was really good. Number 2. Ecstatic, Best in the R2.
Okay.
Because he was handcuffed.
Yes,
and he had to straight take it. Nothing
to protect
it was just it was just gonna happen. And I love the way it smashed, and I love that red guitar one. Number 1, I think Fury, BTW Fury with Tyler Aiken. Goddamn, that shit, I didn't hold back at all with that one. And I knew all eyes, excuse me, Father, I'm out of the box now, for God's sake. The shit with all eyes were on me, and that whole segment, Avery's out there. Tyler just took that last right's tombstone, and I just knew, like, I can't mess this one up at all. Like, it connect good. I wanted it to be perfect, and it just exploded the way I wanted it to. And he was wearing it like a necklace. I loved it. And the impact, the sound, it was like a gun going off in the yard. It was perfect. That one was Tyler Aiken. You're my number 1 El Kabong shot right now, to this day.
Okay. There we go. So on the flip side, who are 3 guys in backyard wrestling that you would like to give an El Kabong to that you haven't had the chance to yet?
Oh. Well, not Kevin Shaw, because he got the worst. If we want to say the worst for one, definitely Kevin Shaw suffered it bad, and I got a lot of heat from that one. Let's see. So 3 for who I want to hit. Goodness gracious. Let's put D-Lock on there.
Okay.
I wanted to hit Aaron Jones really bad at Turbulence, but I didn't get to do it. So I think we ought to put Aaron Jones on there.
Okay.
For number 2. Well, goodness. Last, oh God, how about Mr. Judgment?
Okay. So you can say those 3 guys all have a guitar with their names on them. Gotcha. It'd be interesting to see happen at some point, if it does happen, if and when. To see D-Lock, Aaron, and Judgment take those shots.
How about TJ Sakara? Wouldn't that be something too? His tall ass cut that tree down.
There you go.
El Cabon. Boom. That would be a good one too.
Yeah. Speaking of, he's another underrated guy in backyard wrestling.
Oh yeah, TJ Sakara. You know, he don't get no credit for nothing. They put that boy under, and he'd be losing a lot too. I've been seeing on the big shows, and I really like TJ, and I was glad that Arnold was able to work with him a little bit in that Twitter feud, which, you know, from Proven Ground it started on, which he was upset because he didn't get an interview and Paul Peterson did.
Right.
Of course, the new champion, the first ever champion of Proven Ground, gonna get the interview, but you know, I digress. But
which led into
the yard moment when TJ powerbomb Arnold through the table, through Walker.
Through Jason Walker, yes.
That was really good.
Arnold ended Jason Walker's undefeated streak. I don't care what anybody says. That's what I'm sticking to, and so are a lot of other guys.
TJ ended the streak?
No, Arnold did.
Arnold
the one
did?
that technically put him through it. Yeah.
Wow.
Arnold's the one that got driven through Jason Walker through the table, so.
Man, props to my brother. We McDonald's. That's what we do. Make history.
Right? There you go. All right. We're going to have to wrap up here shortly. I want to get into... Let's do the dream matches real quick. Tell me 3 guys that you want to face that you haven't been in the ring with yet.
Dustin Reagan is definitely one of them. D-Lock, I haven't faced yet, and I want to face him. And Zach Daniels.
All right. 3 interesting BTW names there that you haven't been in the ring with yet. That I could see those 3 matches happening.
I love it. BTW has so many great talent, man.
Oh yeah, and they even had more and more.
Yeah, I love it. I love what they're doing. I give them all, you know, the blessings and everything that's coming their way. They got a really good roster, and
yes, they do.
Respect to them.
Right. Even though on Twitter-wise, we obviously know how you feel about that, and character-wise.
In character, I despise VTW, and I want to destroy it. And so does Father. That's one thing we definitely have in common. We want to see the end of other promotions, including, you know, VTW, UWE. I may not want my company to go under, but what Father says goes.
Right. All right. Let's move on to my favorite segment of the show. That being, I'm going to put you inside the Elimination Chamber. There's another show that likes to do Money in the Bank, but I've got my own Elimination Chamber here that's been okayed by the FTC. And I want you to give me the names of 5 guys from Backyard Wrestling that you would be inside that chamber with.
Man, you know, I seen you ask some people this, and I was just like, I don't know what my answers is going to be. But, let's see. Can I get? Let me see. Oh goodness. Well, the dark side. The dark side's got to be in it.
Obviously, yep.
Yeah, the stuff that we can do in a chamber. So yeah, him. Yankee. I'd like to see Yankee in it.
Okay.
D-Lock.
Okay.
Man, this is tough. How about Cage?
Okay.
You gonna put Cage in there?
Okay.
I know I'm missing somebody that I really like. Who the fuck is it? I know. Hold on. It's somebody. Well, I don't know who it is. Oh God, this is hard. Last one. Okay. Dustin. Let's put Dustin in.
Dustin Reagan. Okay. Now I think I know the answer to this question, but who would be the last person that you would eliminate to win the match?
I can tell you who would be the first person I eliminate, and it's the Dark Side.
Okay.
The ultimate humiliation for him to be the first one eliminated. Boom, right out of there. You ain't going to the best in the yard. You don't deserve shit. So he would be the first one, not the last.
Okay.
The last one, I would have to choose. Oh man. See, that's the hard one there.
Right.
Probably Cage, because he such a big name.
Right.
So yeah.
You think that's the tough one. Now you're going on to main event Best in the Yard for winning the Elimination Chamber match. Who are you facing in that main event, and for what title?
Cameron Jackson.
Okay. I was waiting for you to say his name at some point.
Cameron Jackson. For the BEW Championship.
Nice. I like that choice.
Yeah. You know who also that I want to say that I would like to compete against that I didn't mention is Jamal Payne. Jamal Payne is another one I would love to face in the ring for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, that'd be nice to see. So as we wrap up here, what does the future look like for Nevon McDonald for the rest of 2017?
For Nevon McDonald, you know what? Yeah. Well, I'm definitely gonna be traveling if I'm allowed to, and compete and try to give the best matches possible against whoever I can get in there with in BYW. Definitely getting BW uploaded a lot more.
Right.
A lot more. And just be happy with everything going on with that. And being with my brother and, enjoying the ride while I can.
Yeah.
Because I am looking into real estate. I'm looking into that. But with pro, I think I heard you ask people about
That was
pro.
the next part of it, yep.
Yeah, next. Yep. Yeah. So, I watch your show now.
Yeah.
So I would love to go pro. But I think when it comes to pro, I think I'll be maybe better at with commentary or maybe a manager or something. I do love wrestling. I really do.
Right.
But I don't know. If it was my own company, my goal was always to have BW turn into an indie promotion and make money off of
Right.
that. I would love that.
Just like BTW is trying to do too. So.
Yeah. I would love to do that. I think that's my goal. What I want. It is. Okay. It is my goal, but I'm also looking in real estate too. But that is my goal, to make BW an indie promotion. We got a lot of people that come here to Newburgh to our yard to watch us. If you watch the mega events from Halloween Hell, Day of Destruction, those a lot of people attend. A lot of friends of ours, family members. We
Right.
got hot dogs and hamburgers and shit for $1. We going on over there. Uh, so we make some profit with that, but baby steps. So
Yeah.
so yeah, that's that.
So you foresee yourself being at Best in the Yard next year
Are you kidding me?
then?
Are you serious? Do you know who I am?
Well, for how many more years do you think you've got Best in the Yard?
Oh, for how many more years? I thought you just said, will I be at the fourth
Yeah, I
one?
asked you about the next one. I'm sure you will be, but
Oh,
just had to ask. But
God willing, yes.
yeah,
Uh, I don't know. I don't know how many more years. I definitely don't want to end it until I faced everybody there is to face and say that I got to work with them. You know,
right.
these amazing guys. Um, a lot from BTW, some from UWE, Rick Rios, TJ, um,
Yeah.
those boys, Dirty to Chico. Oh, that was the name I was looking for. Dirty to
Dirty.
Chico. Or that's who I wanted in that fucking chamber. Because he's a brawler, and I know I can
Uh huh.
mash well with him. Oh,
So
yeah. So,
insert
yeah.
Dirty and take out Dustin. Gotcha.
Love you too, Dustin. And I'm definitely, I told you my top 3 anyway. But,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah. So, yeah, that's that. I don't know how many more years for Best in the Yard. Uh, but if I was to end the whole thing, I would love for it to be like how Big Time did it at Best in the Yard.
That would be, in my opinion, the best place for pretty much anybody that's made a name for themselves in backyard wrestling to do it. I hope to see you at several more Best in the Yard events. I hope to BEW does get uploaded here sooner rather than later with you guys' content, because I would love to see some new stuff from you guys. I enjoyed the King of the Yard while we had that, but still it's not the same as seeing what you guys do at BEW as well. So
Yeah. Luckily, we got something proven ground going up some shit. God damn, I
right,
got something on that fucking channel. But yeah, we gonna
right.
try to get it out as and work much harder to getting it out for everybody. Yes.
Now, before I finish, I gotta personally thank you for not only being on the show, but for reaching out to me to get me to start watching BEW New York in the first place. Um, it's something I definitely do not regret doing, and am more than happy to watch and give my opinions as to what I think about for every match and every show on Twitter, um, and trying to help you guys get even more followers for that matter as well.
Yeah, that's the reason why I definitely personally reached out to you to get to watch it, because I see how you take the time and review and tweet and all that for certain shows. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, I definitely got to try to get this guy to watch us. So that's how it came
Right.
about with me contacting you to watch BEW, because I know what we can bring to the table. And
And
yeah,
I've seen that.
so, I've had a long run doing this, 5 years, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I look forward to continuing and wowing more people.
And let me tell you what, on Twitter, I just love the Twitter feuds that we have back and forth. It's actually the two people that I enjoy the most having these feuds, if you want to call it that, with on Twitter, and they're both from BEW New York. So
Who
that's got to tell you something. What was that?
who's the other one?
Well, of course, Yankee, the difference maker.
Ah, should have known.
Should have known. Like nobody
Somebody
else.
need to get, somebody got to get him some soap to put in that mouth, because I
Right?
tell he cursed. I swear a lot too myself, but god damn,
Yeah. But
he's
yeah,
he's a
I really enjoy our interactions on Twitter. You guys make it even more fun for me by all that stuff as well. There are guys in VTW and some other promotions that interact a little bit, but it's just not the same as what you two bring to the table. So
well. You're welcome. Yeah, and sooner or later, maybe you can see Yankee and I have a Twitter war and have a match
Yeah,
You
perhaps.
know, with our two big egos, I don't think the ring is big enough for it.
It might
But
not be.
it should be good.
Yes.
You know, something about making history, as we know.
Right. And I also have to thank you for reaching out to me on Twitter about getting BEW superstars on the show, as we've seen started with the Dark Side, now with you, and I look forward to seeing who else you might be able to get to join me here on Tiger Talks Wrestling.
Yes, I'm going to try to get more out to be interviewed with you. And, in upcoming weeks, hopefully somebody's going to answer the call.
I look forward to it. Um, I'll definitely do my homework, obviously, as I did before this show, and
You
get
did
some
great,
good
man.
information. Well, thank you very much. And I really
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed it. Obviously, my co-host there, Martini, is a little past his bedtime, but
The boy went to sleep or something.
yeah, something like that. He's got stuff tomorrow, so. But yeah, I do appreciate again for having you on here. I hope you enjoyed it very much. I know I enjoyed it very much. And any last words as we close out the show?
Oh, let's see here. Hmm. For all the opponents, that may come my way very soon, do I think y'all can whip my ass? Hell no. Do I think I can whip y'all ass? Well, hell to the yeah. And twice on Sunday. And wait 1 second.
Oh, no.
What's that, Tabitha? What's that, Tabitha? Destroy all of BYW and Tony the Tiger. Oh, I plan on it.
And thank you once again, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Nevon and Noven, for being on the show. This has been Tiger Talks Wrestling. We'll catch you next time.